setup. I'm going to turn this music down. Anybody in here yet? I don't know, but this will be going on YouTube as well, so other people will see me talking very professionally in the future. So I'm still relatively new to streaming, so this is, you know, if this doesn't go great, then I apologize. Let me know if there's anybody in chat and, you know, with the sound volumes are all wrong or anything. Looks like I've only got 2 viewers yet, but might have more people in. I'll answer questions if anybody asks them. Otherwise, I'll just talk about the game and it'll pop up on YouTube later anyway as a archive and stuff. I've got a little chat thing set up, so you should be able to see what people are saying if they do chat. If you watch on YouTube later. Hello if you're watching on YouTube later. So I'm assuming this is going to work now. That's what I think I'm going to do is get Twitch open on my iPad so that I can monitor if it's actually working or not. Because OBS is cool actually. I'm not going to say it's bad, but I still don't trust it. I don't trust it, I'm telling you. Let's have a look. I've got the Twitch app on my iPad. Should have done this before I started, shouldn't I? But that's how it goes. I do these things by the seat of my pants. App update available. Ah, come on, I'm just going to go to the website then. I need to try and bring this overlay thing up as well to just start working. I think it's up now. Alright, twitch.tv/freakzonegames. I still can't believe this game is out. Absolutely. Oh yeah, it looks like it's working. Okay, I need to get rid of that ticker though. Hey Luke, good to see you, man. Sorry, not man. Good to see you, friend. Let me turn these marquees and things off. There we go. All right, that all looks good, I think. And I've got a nice. I'm gonna just do a little bit of housekeeping over here. Is that the word, housekeeping? I'm gonna check my overlay so I can actually see it a little better. It's not quite opaque enough. That looks good. Thankfully, I know this game well enough that I can have an overlay going, and it's not going to cover up anything that I don't see coming. I'll say that now. Spectacular Sparky. I can't believe this thing is out. Okay, Luke or anybody who's around, let me know if the game volume is too loud or I'm too loud or vice versa. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to go super normal difficulty. Yeah. So this is an interesting one. The control config on PC is fully mappable because, generally because PC controllers can be God knows what, right? There's a standard now. Volume is a little quiet on the game or on me. There's a standard now which is X input, you know, the Xbox layout, but there's still controllers that don't use it. There's still people that use very old controllers, so this full both. Gotcha. Okay. I'll bring. Hold on. I've still got the menu music going. That's probably why. Let me turn that off. Boink. Yeah, I had the. Now that was confusing because I had the sort of hold music, which was the menu music, and the menu on, so I thought it was the right one. Hey, Man Plus Mike. That's Carl. That's one of the voice actors in the game. How does everything sound like? You can hear. All right, I'll bring my volume up a little, I guess. Maybe bring my gain up slightly. As best I can do. I don't want to end up peaking all the time. That's the loudest it's going to get. And the game, bring it up to about there. How's that sound? Just cracking open a beverage. Perfect. Thank you very much, Luke. I was saying these control options are... I've used a thing called In Control, and it allows you to use their sort of mapping system, but I should have really... You know, nowadays I think about it, and I'm like, I've got my own way of mapping controls that I could have used, which would have made things easier, and it would have worked on consoles, and would have been a bit less potentially buggy. But hey, what are you going to do? My beverage of choice today is Proper Job from St. Austell Brewery, and that's a very British sounding beer, and it's one of my favorites. I've got it in a Legend of Zelda Stein. Alright, let's go. Spectacular Sparky. That's the beautiful voice of Sebastian Todd. I should probably put out a thing on Twitter to say that we are now live, shouldn't I? And wherever else. Here we go. It's just very exciting for people on the catch up on YouTube and that, isn't it? Live now. Spectacular Sparky. Dave stream. All capitals with an exclamation mark because I'm a pro like that. Twitch. Trying to do this with my phone. .tv/ why don't I do it with my PC, huh? Freak Zone Games. And tweet. Alright. See. Hey, Meta J. Thanks for linking the SoundCloud. Oh, yes, that was you, wasn't it? Yeah, no problem. Oh, was it? You mean the Bandcamp page of Geist? Geist was the person that did the music for this game, and they were amazing. I'm going to just come back out into the menu from options so that we can hear that. I don't think anybody is going to be photosensitive, but they probably won't survive the stream anyway. Oh, hey, John. See, Luke and John are here, and Luke supplied some pixel art for the game, and John added a couple of music tracks, and those two guys were just there, like there for me, like when I was working on this thing at 4 o'clock in the morning, God knows when. And we got Man Plus Mike in the chat, who's Carl, whose voice is in this game, and who also designed a bunch of enemies and things. All right, let's go. Let's get that lovely music play out. This title screen. The logo was, and the background and everything you see was all me, but this beautiful giant sprite of Sparky was done by Chris Bastin, or Jerky. Hey, there's just JD Kelly, there's Joe, voice of Shig as well, and MS Gamer, good to see you. Oh, yeah, we go way back now, me and MS Gamer, you're a good guy. All right, let's just start. Let's go. This will erase your progress. Are you sure? Yeah. Oh, the different modes were one of the things I added right towards the end, actually. Well, tell a lie, towards the end of the original run, because I actually Sparky kind of had 2 dev cycles, because I went back and added a bunch more content later, because I felt it was too short, and Nicholas, provided budget for that. They were really cool. But, I was like, the game's short, I need time attack mode, and I added this frenzy mode thing, which I don't know if I don't think I'm going to play through the whole game tonight, but you beat the game and you get frenzy mode, and it's pretty cool. But game story mode, wreak havoc in different worlds, meet all kinds of wacky characters, kill them, and collect their bounties. Maybe along the way, Sparky might learn a thing or two about himself. Kinda. Sparky doesn't really care, but
Sparky, you little hellion.
That's Joe right there. Joe is in the chat right now. Plays Shig. Sebastian had to go to work, so he's not here, but we'll do something with him. And this is the writing of John Locke from Big Punch. I did Afterlife Inc. and stuff like that. Old friend of mine, and I thought he was hilarious with this. I remember being in the studio and recording this with Joe. And we even tried a British Shig voice at one point, but this southern accent just worked. Damn right, John's a good name. Not as good as Sam, though. Oh, thank you for telling people about the game, John. Shig used to be kind of a fleshy color. He was that sort of pig color. He was based on a character that I designed years ago when I was a teenager, but he's a very different design to the original. But we thought he looked too much like Bebop, Rocksteady, whichever one it was, from Ninja Turtles, so I thought I'd give him more of a Street Sharks kind of look, so I gave him gills and made him blue instead. He was always supposed to be a shark pig. Here we go. Man, just looking at the water. I actually spent ages trying to get the water to make that reflection. I could have just faked it by turning the graphics upside down. But yeah, the original Shig from 2005, actually I designed it in like 2001, was like a Kirby-style puffball thing, and he's got a tattoo of that on his arm. I forgot that. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, so the water here, I'm using, there's an extra camera in the game that is recording the upper half of the screen in the background and projecting it downwards. And just to give it a slight shimmering effect in the water, the camera is just rotating ever so slightly, just like left and right on like the Z-axis. So you just get that slight ripple effect. And it gives you like, the pixels come in and out. Oh, that was pretty cool. And here's my boy Tom Campbell. I did Tom in relatively late because I kept thinking I need a part for him. because he's, you know, he was a radio guy. He still does radio, but he mostly does Cultaholic now. But, you know, he's a radio guy with a great voice, and I'd love him to be involved. He loves Sega and all the stuff that inspired this. And I was like, I do need a tutorial. And a lot of games just do the whole, you know, showing the text on screen to tell you what to do. And I thought about, like, you know, he used to be on radio. He's got a great radio voice. And I thought about DJ Atomica in Burnout Paradise. And that's it kind of went from there. And actually, DJ Cosmosis, John had finished the you know, the main script of the game, and he wasn't around at the time. And I was like, you know what, I reckon I can write something pretty good. So I wrote all of the tutorial script that the tutori LFM. That was all my writing.
Everybody knows about jumping, but if you think happy thoughts,
The
jump button, you might even fly. Keep an eye on that stamina, though. It's a long way down.
It is a long way down. Actually, it's only about that far, but, you know, sounds good when you say it. Those, I just killed that one, but those bomb pug enemies there, they got a little noise they make. They go like that. That is John's daughter, Daisy, when she was, you know, just a little babby. Just a little baby. He just sent me a bunch of sounds of her just kind of babbling, and I used some of it. The little touches and effects and depth/detail elevate this game visually so much. Although it looks on the surface like a Mega Drive game, there are some awesome visual elements which are way more detailed. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I say this with games because when I made Manos: The Hands of Fate, it was like, oh, let's make this like authentic NES and semi-authentic with Jump and Shoot Attack. It was kind of a Shovel Knight type thing. But with Sparky and with games like, I think like this is supposed to be in the spirit of the Mega Drive, but not with the limitations of the Mega Drive. So there's a lot of... Oh, I'm glad Daisy's happy about that. But there's lots of particle effects and things like that the Mega Drive could never do, but just things that I like. Used to get them in PC games at the time. When you hold down the fire button, but things can get I love this line, I have no feeling left in my hands. You can hear Tom do kind of almost a little laugh when he says that, but I loved it. His take of it was so good. Your chat name blends him with the grass. Awesome. John, you're stealth DJ Yoshima. I should really let one of those, if the volume's high enough, I should really let one of those bomb pugs come in so that you can hear Daisy. Ah, the flamethrower. This is my favorite, my weapon of choice. Stealth Man. Whoop. So there's Sebastian's head. There was Daisy's voice. Oh, Daisy, why did you drop a bomb on me? I noticed a little thing that when I was watching a stream, it must be a new, I don't know about bug, but a new little oversight, which was really making me laugh, and I'm keeping it in, where if you die to Planet Dave, when you respawn, if you stand still for a minute, one of those bomb pugs just shows up and just drops a bomb on you. I think that's hilarious. Hit the dash button and you'll zip past all your responsibilities. I like that line as well. Yeah, burn them all. Yeah, a lot of people go straight for the homing rockets, but man, I've always been a melee combat in any Elder Scrolls game or anything like that where you got all the options. Always melee, always up close and personal, shotguns, stuff like that. So that guy shocks people. It's great. I love. I was watching some streams last night and just going from cute to the that evil, angry furball. Just it gives people a good shock. Like that was an idea which I came up with in something like 2001. That was for a game that was going to be called Rod the Red, which I never made. But a lot of elements from Rod the Red and Shig and some games that I thought of when I was a kid ended up in Sparky. It's all about that spread shot. Yeah. All about this. I always end up usually with the spread shot and the flamethrower, but these are handy sometimes, especially when you need some range, because I often end up with the spread shot and the flamethrower, and I'm like, I got no range. There we go, spread shot and rockets. Something I took from Gunstar Heroes was the fact that when you kill an enemy, it's not an explosion sprite, it's like 12 explosion sprites that just all go off. Yeah, the rockets are definitely... Yeah, in Frenzy, you're going to need the rockets, definitely. One thing I noticed in some streams was people just not using the dash. Even though we put things in there which you have to use the dash to even progress, They just kind of they go through the bramble things, the the thorns, and and they just think that the dash only exists to go through this or something. I was like, you never played Guacamelee? Count 'em, 2. That was a funny thing. I was listening to the Sonic the Comic, the podcast, which I was on recently, and they said that they just noticed it was a thing that we used to always do. If you said a number, you'd go like 3. Count 'em, 3. And why do you say that? Where did that come from? I don't know where that came from, but I wrote that in without even thinking about it. And so after they aired that episode where they talked about it, I sent them a screen grab of that. John put up sent a video of little Daisy playing this, and it was brilliant because she just absolutely loses her mind laughing, and I loved it. I don't think it's a public video, and I don't know if you're comfortable with it being public, John, but I loved it. Here's the thing, this next line, not this one, this line now, it's in, if you're listening, it's in noticeably different quality to the other lines that DJ Cosmosis says, and that kind of, I hope people don't notice. I'd love to re-record it or something, but Tom went into the actual radio station to record most of these, so we got the authentic radio station feel, but we added the this move, the walk backwards, shoot forwards, the sort of aim lock, a bit later on in development, and there was a pandemic and we were locked down, so he recorded it at home, and I got it as close as I could, but I still don't think it quite sounds right. Let me see what he goes through. The place of difficulty seems to come from people who are less familiar with platform shooter mechanics. They'll learn. Yeah, it's true. It's interesting because I actually had to make the game easier than it was because some people said it was too hard, but I've also said a lot of people say they found it too easy as well. And it's interesting because there are difficulty options. That's Carl's voice, Man Plus Mike in there doing the but, yeah, there are difficulty options and you can change them at any time without restarting the game, but nobody ever changes them. They just stick it. So if they're having too hard a time, they still just push forward until they give up. Or if they're finding it too easy, they just get through the game too quick. So I don't know what the answer to that is. The enemy looks kind of like Cuba. I suppose it does, yeah. Hollow Knight and Celeste being so popular. I don't know why people ignore dashing. Yeah, weird. Maybe because I put it on a shoulder button, I don't know. But this dash, this really super long, overpowered dash move is, the idea came from Alien Soldier, in which the dash is even more overpowered. Upload the audio publicly, that's a good idea.
Hey, whose domain is this? Dusty. Gotcha. And you are? Dusty. Glad we cleared that up. I don't want to fry the wrong guy.
Dusty was originally the second boss. But the guys at the publisher, and I agree with them, they felt that because the first boss was the Slugginator, the guy with the 5 eyes, but they felt that the first boss should talk to you because it needs to show you that there will be these dialogue sequences with bosses and not to suddenly be in stage 2 and be surprised with one. But also, Dusty's kind of a bit less of a shock than a slug with 5 eyes, farting bombs out. And also you can beat him without using the dash maneuver if you must. And so this whole first world kind of gradually trains you to use the dash maneuver. Each boss kind of gets a little bit more reliant on the maneuver. Oh, I wouldn't pay attention to every critic. Keyboard warrior is always going to type. Yeah, well, I do. I mean, it depends, isn't it? Like, take criticism, but you also got to filter which is the right kind of criticism to take and stuff. I think it's. I wasn't like hurt by it or anything like that. I was a bit fucked off with some of the people. Pardon my language. I was a bit pissed off with some of the people in the chat that were saying like, "Oh, it's bad design," when they were just watching somebody play badly. But again, if the game doesn't train them to play well, then it's partially the game's fault. I with Sparky, I made the game that I want to play, and I assume there will be people out there who have similar tastes to me. So I'm not going too hard on the listening to criticism thing. But you know, for the future, it's always things to it's always things to consider for the future. You know, something I want to keep working on is the idea of dynamic difficulty. Me and Luke went over this with a game where we started like having and Sparky has it kind of where the health pickups they they drop randomly. So the enemies drop a random number of stars, though each enemy's like, oh, this one can drop from 1 to 6, or this one can drop between 8 and 12, whatever. But the number which they drop, the lower your health and armor, the higher chance that they're going to drop a much higher number of stars, which is kind of helpful because, yeah, once you get desperate, it does tend to help you out, but it's not obviously noticeable. And it keeps things dynamic, so it's, you know, it's the equivalent of Mario Kart giving you a better power-up when you're stuck at the back. But I think I could do better with dynamic difficulty. I'd love to, like, find some way of doing it so that, you know, the game never asks you, do you want to change difficulty? But just kind of molds the game and your experience around how you're playing. I know that, like, certain games like Resident Evil 4 do it. Like, the game just secretly gets easier if you've died a few times in the same part. And if you've gone ages without any trouble, it will just quietly and secretly get harder. And I'll talk about this. I can talk over Slugginator. He doesn't have any dial or anything. But I reckon, like, I've never seen any reports on this or anything, but I reckon the Resident Evil games since 7, or particularly the remake of 2 and 3, particularly noticed it in 3, in the Resident Evil series, they have this thing in place where, and it only can work if the bosses don't have health bars, but I think those games are like rigged so that you always, or at least you're much more likely to beat the boss just by the skin of your teeth. Like, it seems to me that if you are, once the boss is getting close to dead, like about to where Slugginator is now on his health bar, once you are low on ammo, that boss will suddenly get a lot weaker, or your ammo will hurt it more. Or vice versa, if you've got loads of ammo, the boss might take more hits. I think, I mean, I can't prove it, nobody's talked about it, but I think that's happening in the Resident Evil games. I've noticed it. And it's really cool because it generates a better experience, you know, if you're always just passed by the skin of your teeth. Not every single time, obviously, because then it's too obvious, but I know that Cruise and Blast game has it almost a bit overdone, where you almost always win by a split second. But if you can do it right, I think it could just make the game a better time. And, you know, there are people, there are purists that will say, you know, I want to know if I can beat the exact challenge or not. But if you're having a good time, that's what's important, right? Yes, they just say there's a kind of game they wouldn't normally play, and we're only playing it because somebody was, somebody was voice acting. Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, I have the super easy and super casual difficulty settings in the game for those people, but I suppose, I mean, it doesn't ask you at the start what difficulty you want. It's in the options menu, which isn't ideal, but I just don't like the idea of asking at the beginning. What I would love to do, perhaps in a patch, would be to have it in this pause menu, so you've got an options menu in the pause menu where you can just change the difficulty on the fly. So if you're having too hard a time, you can just go boink and just drop it down. Because the difficulty in this game does work in a dynamic way, you know. So it would be, you know, you wouldn't have to restart even the level, probably. Some power-ups might disappear, but yeah. Something I might do in future games is just have that, even if it's not in an options submenu, even if it's just on this screen, if there's a difficulty button, that would be cool. I know that Elder Scrolls Oblivion did that, but it had a slider, like it went from sort of 1 to 100 difficulty slider, and you could just, in the pause menu, you could just slide it up or down, and that was great. Obviously, that's not right for every game. You know, Angry Video Game Nerd games wouldn't work so well with that, but she got to the 3rd world on Super Casual. Wow, good on her. Tell her Sam says well done. But yeah, actually the Super Casual difficulty was added later. It was originally Super Easy, Super Normal, Super Hard. And I put Super Casual in there because, well, a lot of the people that did voice acting for the game and stuff have kids, and they show their kids the game. I'm like, well, maybe their kids should be able to play it, you know? So I just put that difficulty in there. And I think it helps a lot. If you're just here to see the story and the voice acting, why not? Like, you know, I don't need to gatekeep the story from you just because you're not good at Contra. I'll be honest, I don't agree with that on Dark Souls, because Dark Souls is the whole point. It's the whole point, you know, and it doesn't really have a story. Like, there's no story in Dark Souls unless you read the item descriptions, and you can go and read those online, you know. Yeah, Metroid Dread is a fucking hellscape of difficulty. And I mean, I like difficult games, but it depends on the time of my life, right? Like, I would have loved to have gotten through Metroid Dread without screaming at it. I still think it's a brilliant game. It got me raging. So I was like, fuck Metroid Dread. But I don't know, man. I feel like I would argue against the difficulty setting in Dark Souls generally, because I don't want to be tempted to turn it down in that particular game. Because normally I will turn the difficulty setting down. I got nothing to prove. I've done it in Gears of War 5. I remember doing it because one boss just pissed me off so much. I was like, I'm not having fun. Switched it to easy, beat the boss, and then resumed having fun because that's my free time I'm using. You know, I got nothing to prove. But Dark Souls, I feel like the experience itself just wouldn't be there at all, if that makes sense. Because the story of Dark Souls, there's no real actual cutscenes beyond big monster appears on screen and person reacts to big monster appearing on screen. Here's Mr. Carl. Here's Man with Mike. Yeah, Man plus Mike. Playing Planet Dave. I think, in retrospect, I would like to have had the boss name next to the boss's health bar, rather than just the word boss. Because you only find out the boss's names, the ones that don't say their names to you, when you go back to the menu, and some people don't go back to the menu. Yeah, that's fair if Dark Souls isn't fun for you. The thing is, it's... how to put it? Dark Souls wouldn't be fun if it was easy. It would be kind of hollow. No pun intended. But again, I mean, there's no harm in it. I just wouldn't want to be tempted to turn off. But in general, like, I don't think... You know, when I was, like, raging at Kraid in Metroid Dread... there's the beef stroganoff. It was interesting because Sebastian sent that, and I learned how Americans pronounce stroganoff. But yeah, I don't feel like spending 8 attempts on Kraid in Metroid Dread and having to take breaks and stuff was an enriching experience, like a Dark Souls, conquering a Dark Souls is. I don't think... if I was able to go into the menu and drop the difficulty a little bit to fight Kraid, I don't think anything would have been lost. What Dark Souls has is, for me, if I... Because I need that button, right? I need that I give up, throw me a bone button, which I had in... It depends on the genre, but which I had in Gears of War 5, where I just dropped it too easy for the boss and then went back again. I need the throw me a bone button, but in Dark Souls, the throw me a bone button is the summon mechanic. You bring somebody else in to help, and that's what I usually did. But I would start helping other people for a while until I got good. Hey, Fee! Finding time to play games these days is tough. Difficult settings are always appreciated when... Yeah, I wouldn't argue... if the game is all about being difficult, i.e. Dark Souls, I'm not against not having difficulty setting. I'd rather they didn't. But in most other games, yeah. I mean, just put an option in there. It's my free time. And my money I spent on the game. What I'm trying to say is, fuck Kraid in Metroid Dread. Sergeant Blown Apart. That's a name that I came up with. I'm proud of that one. Actually, I thought more people would have thought of that, Blown Apart from Bonaparte, but no, a lot of people just go, oh, that's a good name. Had so much fun recording Planet Dave. Must have recorded the Planet Dave Mad line. Yeah, because even I recorded for him potentially, didn't I recorded some lines so that we could maybe use me as Dave, but you did a lot better, Mr. Carl. But he was like, I learned that I could scream. I did the Planet Dave Mad thing in there. And then Mr. Carl went in there and just completely wiped the floor with me. And Sparky goes, cha-ching! Yeah, that was good timing.
That's how I found out regular folks usually...
Now this is the writing of Elizabeth Cullen, who I should have probably informed about this stream, actually, but she was wonderful. It was a time when I needed some scenes written in like a weekend, you know. because I was adding these 4 shoot 'em up stages quite late on because I wanted to pad the game out. Not pad it, but I wanted to make it longer because I felt it was too short. And Elizabeth's like, she had sent me a bunch of her writing before. And it was just, you know, prompts that people had given her, and she'd just written them and stuff. It wasn't work that she'd done for hire, but it was great. Like, I really enjoyed it. And we used to, over like a voice call, we'd have a few drinks and act out her scripts. The one called Darkest Midnight in December, something like that, with these vampires. It was hilarious. And another one called The Beautiful Body Part Palace. And I just loved her conversational style. Like, she wrote great conversations, and so I was like, could you write for me some conversations that Sparky and Shig can have while in these shmup stages, kind of Lilac Wars style, you know, Star Fox 64, if you're American. Elevated the second world to something special. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, I sometimes look back and I think that, like, the second world, Mechopolis, you know, starting here, has so much story, and up until Laboratorium, they don't. Again, I wouldn't have minded padding maybe not Slime Hive, because the isolation in there is kind of part of it, you know, but I wouldn't have minded adding a little bit more story and dialogue to Atomic Rig.
Stop right there, you little freak.
You didn't know about the Shig jet ski until you saw it in the final game. That was fun. That was Luke drew that sprite, actually.
You no good yellow belly. Wait a minute. Shig?
Yes. Yeah, that was Luke. That. In fact, you didn't even just draw the sprite. You designed the jet ski, didn't you?
You're as intimidating as ever. Still
Still wrapped around Sarge's little finger, I see. I loved so much how Elizabeth, like, beefed up, or porked up, you could say, Shig's history with Sarge by introducing Cookie. And, like, she calls him a deserter and stuff like that. That's really cool. Yes, you did. You did. Luke did about half of Tough Cookie here. Like, I did her upper body and her head. And I was like, I need hands and a jetpack and legs. And I handed it over to Luke while I was working on other stuff. Oh, and the gun. So this is our collaboration. She's kind of a collaboration between me and you, Luke. Bring it on, pussycat. I would have liked, if I had more time, for the shmup stages to have had, like, weapon power-ups as well. And maybe to have the heat meter on still and all of that, but time was limited, and the most of the weapon upgrades in the platform levels wouldn't work in shmup because only 3 of them are long range. And you don't want short-range weapons in a shmup stage. So I would have loved to have come up with, like, shmup-specific weapon power-ups, but time was limited. Also, Sparky is a platformer with some shmup stages in it. I wanted to keep the shmup stages simple and easy compared to the rest of the game, because, you know, you don't want to go into a completely different gameplay style and get stuck when you paid for a platformer.
And that's what I call a dishonorable discharge. You okay there,
Missiles coming out of Sparky's eyes. Yes. Well, I had at one point just a flamethrower coming out of the middle of the ship, and it looked weird. I had to redesign the ship that was holding a gun, but that didn't feel right either. So I just had the eyes fire. Oh, this line, though. I love this so much. And Joe's delivery here. I talked over it, but on this bit now.
I guess what I'm trying to say is war changes.
See, that was me. That was my line, because Elizabeth wrote, son, war never changes. And it's like, yeah, you got your Fallout reference in there. That's great. She loves Fallout. New Vegas is the one she likes, I think. And she wrote that in there. And I was like, not always, but often if I have a reference in something, I'm going to pause it while I talk about this because I've got so much to talk about on the screen right now as well. But I was thinking, if you have like a reference to something, don't just say a line. I mean, you can sometimes if it fits. I mean, this whole level is just there's a lot in the background. There's just lines that reference things. But if you've got just a line from something else in your script, I think it's kind of cool to add another joke to it, like because you get those movies, don't you? Like epic movie or whatever. It's like, hey, here's a thing that exists that you know of. That's the joke, and not that it's wrong to do that, because, you know, having Shig say "war never changes" in that voice, in the Ron Perlman impersonation, is awesome. But I was like, I want to make that funnier, and I just picture the idea that he's sad. You know, Cookie has died, and he's sad about it, and he just kind of cheers himself up by thinking about war and death, because that's what Shig and Sparky love. And so I just added the son, war never changes, except sometimes when it does. In fact, I'd say it's beautifully unpredictable every time. Every skirmish a new adventure. I guess what I'm trying to say is war changes a lot. And I loved, because I was directing Joe over Discord, I think, when we did that, and he hadn't read the line yet in the script, and he got up to it and just really made him laugh, and I loved that. Okay, we got references. Some of these are in jokes. The 7 Granddad joke felt kind of dated, but the problem is I started this game about 3 or 4 years ago, so the 7 Granddad joke. But also I do I like to shout outs to Silver Gunner, because they've done shout outs to us before. So and to Joel, you know, Varg Skeletor. Thank you, Joe. So this up here, it's 2 things, right? Legger's Legacy, because this game was the Sparky was conceived when me and Carl would just go to a pub and sketch ideas for a game, and sketch silly aliens and weird looking characters and stuff. And we used to do that in school in like year 8. And in year 8, Carl and partially me came up with this Legger's Legacy, which never got made, because it was just ideas just kind of smushed onto paper. But I thought I would pretend Legger's Legacy existed within the world of Sparky, because this was our first actual proper collaboration in a real game. It also got 11 out of 10, but from, I think, IGN. I don't know. There's an E3 logo in there in very low res. Best game, visual, sound, speed. That references Alien Soldier, which a lot of this game was inspired by. It had visual, sound, speed. I always said visual shock, sound shock, speed shock. The future game starring Manly Man. Yeah, Manly Man originally came from Awesome Land, my first commercial platform game on iPhone and Android. I'd love to make Super Awesome Land. Yeah, okay, I want every reference here. Let's do it, because this stage is absolutely choking with references. Torgo's Pizza, referencing 2 things. The fact that I made Manos the Hands of Fate the game, and the fact that in Mystery Science Theater 3000, when they had Manos the Hands of Fate, they had Torgo delivering pizza. Do Baseball. That is just something that's written in the background of Streets of Rage 2, which doesn't make any sense. It's English, but it's in Streets of Rage 2. So, Do Baseball. Freddy references a game that I made in 1998, which was a remake of a game I made in 1997 with a frog, which you'll see another reference to shortly. Living for Sparky's character animations. The ducks that... Oh, did you see his crawl? I regret not having more crawl spaces in the game and not forcing the player to crawl more, or maybe having a crawl like increase your defense or something like that, because just to use this more. I like the Louis billboard and Freddy the Frog. Yeah, Cope. The one says Cope there. That's just because in the Sonic games they randomly have Cope written in the background for some reason. Word. Same story as Cope. These balloons were the idea came from Carnival Night Zone in Sonic 3. Frog Flakes. There. That's Freddy from that game that I was just talking about. Wow, they turn the milk green. The idea that, you know, it's a cereal ad, but it just was a funny way to include Freddy. There's a Knight from Night Terrors. That yellow thing there is the Freak Zone Games logo from way back when I first started. Hell, I used a variation on that when I first put out like the 3DS version of AVGN 1 and stuff, so that's still out there. But that, yeah, it was an old F and a Z, because graphic design is my passion. The crawl is so fun to do. Yeah, he holds it. Holding the ears down, I can't remember if that was... I think that might have been... I think Carl might have drawn a sketch of him, like, crouching down holding his ears like that, and I thought that was great. He's actually only holding one ear and the other hand's holding his gun, but it's like close enough. You can pretend that his hand's holding the other ear with the gun, you know. Hoopla is referencing a website I had years ago, which I don't like going back to. I was trying to be... It was like a humor site, and it wasn't... You know, I'm a more mature person than I was then. But, you know, a little thing in there for people that might remember it. And also that bit in SpongeBob where the guy's going, hoopla, which is where I got the name for the site from to begin with. That's what we got. Nerd. That's just referencing AVGN. I thought it'd be funny that it's just like some kind of brand called Nerd and it's like a logo of glasses. Kind of inspired by the old, at the end of TFI Friday, there was just Chris Evans' company, not Captain America. It was called Ginger Productions and it had just a pair of glasses. Yeah, I thought about, yeah, maybe he's holding them both in one hand as well, like holding his hair back. Yeah, I'm gonna have that. Cake. That is a reference to a Chris Morris show called Brass Eye. Now, a lot of people think that's a reference to Portal. It is not. That is a cringy reference to Portal. And Obey is They Live. Because Sparky has come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, but he's all out of bubblegum. Oh, I'm not doing very well here. I'm busy looking out for references and chats. So this, some people think this one's Freddy as well, this blue one here. That is actually Ringo the Beetle from one of my first ever games, which I made on Acorn Electron, that was called Insect World, and then I later remade it in the Games Factory. And I attempted to do a reinterpretation of it for iPhone called Hungry Beetle, but it was a big failed experiment, but that's there. Yeah, Brass Eye. There's a yellow smiley face, which isn't referencing anything, it's just a smiley face because I was happy when I was making these robots. And this here, hey, Luke and John, you're in the chat. That is Lillian from a fucking phenomenal, wonderful game that I have been sort of helping out with, and I wrote a song for, which I'm hoping to, you know, push onto. Well, I don't know how much you want me to say, but it's one of the best games I've ever played in my life, and I hope we can get it released because I love it so much. It's Luke's imagination just kind of splashed out onto a screen, you know, and it's Lucas has this incredible mind, and I just was like, when Psy Cutlery comes out, I want people to look back at Sparky and remember that there was a foreshadowing of it, you know. There were going to be people that are going to love Psy Cutlery. It's going to really be a lot of people's favorite game, you know, and so I want those people to, I'll be like, hey, I was here too. Yeah, she's in Nintendo Switch already and her game's not even on there yet. Space Invaders. These happy bombs were based on a drawing that Carl drew in a pub the one day. Yeah, number 7 will surprise you. Okay, here we go. These are, so I've got 3 Freak Zone posters, 3 Freak Zone references in one go. You know, we got Master referencing the Master in Man Stands of Fate. We got Manly from Awesome Land. In this universe, he is a movie star. And we got Louise Lightfoot, who is my favorite of my design characters from Jump and Shoot Attack and hopefully Super Jump and Shoot soon. But I always had this joke in my head. There was, I think John wrote this script once, starring the character Rod the Red, called Better By Dead, and it sounded like a James Bond title or whatever, and I always thought I wanted to have one called Innocent Until Proven Dead, and so I thought maybe Manly could star in that, because also Manly stars in Dino Wars. If you watch the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, Manly is on the title screen of a made-up game called Dino Wars, where he's shooting his shotgun at a laser T-Rex, which I made that for that movie. I imagine Sparky's gun's like the Lawgiver in Dread, with his ammo types and fire. Yes, he's just like, hot shot. This is Chili Grilly, the hottest on the planet. That is a reference to a game by I can't remember. It's a Scottish chap. He's a good guy, but the game is called. We talk on Twitter. He's a great guy. The game is called Spicy Piggy, and it's on mobile. Get it? It's great. I wanted to put a little reference because he's got a cameo of Louise Lightfoot in that as well. Huss. This is Bubba from Jordan Biebersoft's game, Bubba in the Third Dimension, and Bubba Goes Number 2, which was his scatological, what's the word, sophomoric humor kind of game that he did back in the late 90s, and that's become a weird sort of meme if you follow Ding Dong VG, I think it was Ding Dong VG, they do Bubba Fest where they make Bubba fan games, like a game jam and shit like that. And it was just a game where you fart and poop on people, so I thought I'd put a reference to it. And now Bubba is in a Nintendo game. Think about that. Noel still loves you. What is a strong sign? That is Mensky, who his face appears in things. Watch Ashton's video. Watch his face appear in things. Strength. The phrase "I feel strength welling in my body" is from the end screen of Ghouls and Ghosts, or is it Ghosts and Goblins? One of those two. And Courageor is the same. It says you feel strength and Courageor. Melonhead's balloons, totally not creepy. That is foreshadowing to Melonhead, who is himself a homage to Melon Bread in the Gunstar Heroes and Alien Soldier in Treasures games. He appeared in Gunstar Heroes. He also appeared again in a different form in Alien Soldier with the same name, Melon Bread. And I thought, we need a clown called Melonhead. And that's Mika Mitchell doing the voice. They are cool. They came in and did a couple of voices. Mika's fun. Mika comes to all of my retro game nights and stuff, and does some great voices. And I thought I liked their voices, and I thought I'd give them a shot, and we just have a lot of fun recording it. Spine spot. Oh, the spine spot. Yeah, because I walked straight past that, didn't I? The spine spot. That's because in Streets of Rage 2. Right at the beginning, I think it's 2, maybe 1. Right at the beginning, you pass a place called the Pine Pot, and I said, "Can you do Pine Pot?" to Anthony, who does some of the background art, and because he did that one, and he made Spine Spot. And if you look really carefully, you can see there's like spines in jars in the window. So one thing is, Melon Bread in Gunstar and Alien Soldier doesn't. It's made of separate parts which move using maths, but you don't destroy the parts individually. I like the idea of a boss where you could destroy all the individual teeth, the eyes, etc., until there's no parts left. That was new to it. AG Silver Zero, combine the weapons like in Gunstar Heroes. Yeah, I thought about it, but I thought it was too obviously like Gunstar Heroes then. But it's something to consider if I ever do a Sparky 2, definitely. Can you imagine like homing spread shot or? Oh yeah, the boss theme. That's well, most of the music is the work of Plumegeist. You can get the soundtrack on their Bandcamp, but John here, DJ Yoshiman, also provided a couple of tracks to it as well, and they were really good. Yeah, Melonhead's definitely the creepiest boss in the game. I like seeing people's reactions to it in streams. They're like, "Oh dear God!" I mean, Sparky himself is scared of clowns. I think it's one of the only times in the game he gets scared. I love whenever it plays that scream. I shouldn't have done that, should I? Yeah, Sparky's voice actor Sebastian, he like sent a bunch of screams and ows, owies, ouch, all that, and that scream was so good. I was like, but you can't have it all the time, it has to be randomized and only occasionally popping up. Your music tracks pale terribly in comparison to Geist's amazing work. Not at all, my friend, you were great. The train stage, once we added your track as well, really heightened it. Here's so these guys, we've been calling them flurfs. Okay, Sarge wants you to submit. That's not a reference. Obviously, that is foreshadowing, much like the Melonhead one. That's when Mika was recording from Melonhead, when he goes, "You want to play with Melonhead?" I said, "Can you try and make that sound like, kind of do that in the style of that Ego Raptor thing where it goes, anybody like some pound cake?" Sarge wants you to submit now. Okay, $7 grand out of the movie. Yeah, so some people say this is kind of a dated reference. Well, I love the streamer Joel, and I love Silver Gunner, and they reference that old, bootleg $7 grand dad game where it's like I'm assuming it's supposed to be that you're Mario's great granddad in the caveman time, but it's just a hack of the Flintstones game. I had the reference in AVGN Deluxe, which was a tiny bit better. This is later, but I mean, I was aware that this was going to come out later, and I thought it'd be funny if it's like, well, now, I mean, yes, 7 Grandad, it's, you know, the beam is probably past, but if you look, it's been adapted into a movie now. You know, that's like the eventuality that it would become a movie in this like futuristic city, you know. Me just enjoying some proper job. I'm gonna, yeah, the home missile is actually really useful in this stage, but yeah, there was somebody playing this part and saying it's impossible without the missiles, and that's just not true. Hey guys, 1 second. Oh, hello. Sorry about that. It was my wife wanted to talk about something. She's talking about the baby. Yeah, Smokey Joe's is here in the game. Actually, Lyndon, who runs Smokey Joe's, I didn't realize I hadn't told him about this, and he saw it at the launch party. He just saw this in the background. He's like, oh, I just saw the Smokey Joe's. And I was like, yeah, I recreated I mean, Smokey's has this kind of layout, you know, it's got the awning here, and that's a very similar font to the Andy's font I used there and stuff, because I mean, that place, we've been doing a retro games night there, which I host, which I set up so long ago. But up until COVID, we did that for 5 years, every month without fail. And they've got arcade cabinets there, but we set up TVs and games consoles and stuff, and it's amazing. That's how I know some of the people in this chat. It's how I know Mensky. And it's been amazing, and they've been amazing. I was like, Smokey Joe's, you know, I went there I did the launch party there, I did a rap party there, I did a bunch of Sparky related stuff there, we've done testing there, and they've always been a big part of my life ever since I've been a game dev. So I was like, I need to pay tribute to them in the game. Yeah, good times indeed. You need to come to an SCB, Fee. We got a Halloween one coming up. Alright, this I love this character.
From the dark side of reason. No! A flash of black light.
Oh, thanks, Shella. Good to see you in here.
The queen
We've passed your character already, but you did. This is Shella who played Tough Cookie. We did have a good time at the launch party. It was great. Yes, they should install the sidewalk sprites. So this character, I added her a bit later on because I was like, I want a rival bounty hunter that you can keep fighting throughout the game. And I said to John to write her, she's going to be like this edgy, like Shadow the Hedgehog level edgy. But Sparky thinks she's the coolest. And that's what I said to John, that Sparky would think she's the coolest. But then he came up with the idea of making him like a fanboy of her, like that he simps for her. And I think it's great. Yeah, you were awesome, Shella. So Shella was, I heard Shella's demo reel ages ago because I was just scouting around for voices. And actually, what it was I wasn't scouting for Sparky. I was just scouting for voice actors to know for other times I'd need one. And you know my character Louise Lightfoot, who I love, and I always scouted out for voices, just potential voices if I ever need a voice for her. And I heard Shella's demo, and I was like, oh, she sounds great. It's particularly when she uses her own English accent. And I was like, I'd love for Louise Lightfoot to sound like that. And but it was going to be ages until I was going to need a voice for Louise Lightfoot, if at all. And a long time before I'd do any more voice acting. But as soon as we had a female character, as soon as we had Cookie, I was like, I want to work with Shella on something at the very least, and hopefully again later with Louise Lightfoot or whatever. But so I was like, can you do this voice? She's like, this isn't my usual kind I do, but I think she did a great job. I think it was awesome. But then, of course, we had Nightshade, and Elsie Lovelock, who plays Nightshade, was recommended by Sparky. It was recommended by Sebastian. And she was incredible as well. Yeah, that's tough, Cookie. That's true, actually. I've dissed Cookie, and she's a badass. I've dissed Tough Cookie, rather. Just having some more Proper Job. It's damn good beer. You should try Proper Job if you haven't, by St. Austell Brewery. Anyway, this train stage. Okay, this was one of the stages I added in later on. Just leaving some space for Dave to talk.
Blown Apart Central and the Blown Apart Reconstructive Center for Mass Cranial Trauma. This Blown Apart service is brought to you by our benevolent and universal...
Drink every time he says Blown Apart.
Sergeant Blown Apart. All hail Sergeant Blown Apart.
We got more references. Okay, so these logos on the train window, I didn't actually ask for this, but Anthony just put them in there because I got Anthony to draw the trains. That's Lucky Softworks, and he just drew the Game Gear logo. That's the Sega Game Gear logo, isn't it? We got this S because everybody draws the S on tattoos. Tattoos? Talk about on graffiti. It's hard to talk and play at the same time. And this is a graffiti of Sweetie, who is Indie Gamer Chick's sort of character, like her icon. And I wanted to get a reference to her in there because she's become a friend of mine, and she's awesome. She's really helped me to learn how to make games more accessible. It's like Boo. So remember I said that Do Baseball was from Streets of Rage 2. Well, in that same level, there's also a sign that says it's like Boo. So yeah. Yeah, this train stage was inspired by the train stage in Alien Soldier, which is a big inspiration of this game in general. Which is also very simple, walk forward and shoot until you get onto the top of the train. But I just thought we could add some train vocals, and I wanted a part for Dave Ballmer, being that he does Sonic the Comic, the podcast, and he does voices, and he really wanted a part, so I thought, we need a train announcer, let's do that. There's Mega Droid's signature from Sonic the Comic, speaking of. I have not got an S tattoo yet, but I should. I get an SAM. Who tattoos? There was a joke I was quite proud of on Twitter, which you only get it if you're a nerd like me. But somebody was saying, like, "Where's your Sonic tattoo, Sam? Is it in private places?" And I said, my Sonic tattoo is positioned where, if I get excited, he goes from the classic Sonic design to the modern one. Ah, thanks, Shella. It's very simple. It's left and right, enemies come from left, right, and you walk forward, and you bump your head on the top, but it's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's a bit of cinematic fun. Happy face. Oh, give peas a chance. Okay. This is a phrase that you see on t-shirts in like the Beano and stuff. It's an old joke, but there is on the drive that I used to do, my wife, when we were just boyfriend and girlfriend like 10 years ago, and we'd only been married for 4 of those years, but like 10 years ago, we would drive all the way down to her place in Hertfordshire. She'd drive us all the way down there, and there was just this bridge across the motorway, and there was just this massive bit of graffiti that said in big chunky letters in white, "Give peas a chance." And I'd always see the "Give peas a chance" graffiti. And it recently got removed, unfortunately, sadly, but I think they went back and wrote something else over it in the end, but I thought I would immortalize it in Sparky. Happy face, because happy face. The happy faces are not referencing anything. There's random happy faces on things. Not referencing anything, I'm saying I was happy when I was making the game. Comeback GG is referencing the game, what's it called? There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension. If you've played it, you'll get it. I wanted to reference some indie games that I've been playing at the time. And Zane Rocks, Corey Sucks is Hypnospace Outlaw, which is... God, it's such a good game. Please play it. Especially if you went on the internet in the 90s a lot, in the late 90s, early 2000s a lot. My God, it's incredible. This is John's music, DJ Yoshima's music playing right now.
And heads inside the train at all times, and their opinions deep.
Had a lot of fun recording this with Dave. I directed him over Skype or over Discord, and he was great. We had a lot of fun. He really liked the lines. Those are John's lines, and he really liked them. McZ was here. That references McZ from 3D Movie Maker, fine artist, creative writer. Used to play on my computer. Oh, we got some Z ordering problem here. That shouldn't happen. Better fix that. But that's, yeah, referencing McZ, who was a purple character that was in those old Microsoft Kids educational and creative games. Yeah, you remember the motorway bridge. Yeah, that's referencing that. So we've got a few things from my real life are in the game.
There is no escape. This is our life now, and we all must learn to live with it.
Yeah. This is Joe again. Take a bow, Joe. So these noises, they weren't in the script. I was just, can you make some dumb noises for this character? And Joe did, and I spliced a bunch of them together. And me and Carl were doing it, like editing it and just laughing because he has maybe one or two of those spliced together, maybe one or two more than there should be, because he just starts going like this. We just thought it was really funny, so we put it in the game.
These are not part of Sergeant Blonapart's bold new vision for the planet, and thus, clearly, do not exist.
Please report for cultural reprogramming until next time. Dave really loved that line when he was reading it. That's John's work.
Buddy gonna die. Buddy ain't nothing.
Clearly the brains of the operation. Let's see what.
All these little stories to references in the game are great. Really shows the heart in it. Thank you, Shella. Yeah, I mean, it's still sinking in that this game is actually released because I've been on and off working on it for about 4 years. And the thing is, I made AVGen. I love AVGen. I enjoy my Manos game. Obviously, I love Louise Lightfoot, and I enjoyed making Jump and Shoot as like a little experimental thing for phones. And Night Terrors as a little experimental short game. But this is the one that really I put a lot of love and passion into because it's the games that I love. You know, it's the Mega Drive and Gunstar Heroes and that. And that, you know, the characters were made together with Carl, and I brought friends in and talented people in and kind of directed them and stuff, and it just, yeah, I really do. This game means a lot to me, and it's my first, not including Night Terrors, but that's kind of a little mini game, you know. This is my first entirely original game with my own characters to ever be on Nintendo, so I'm really chuffed about that. Hey, Straw! You love the Mega Drive Genesis music. Thanks, dude. That's Bloomgeist work. This is my calling card of a game, yeah. Good to see you, Stroll. Stroll is one of the champion angry video game nerd speedrunners. I hope you enjoy Sparky. I understand if you don't, because it's not very speedrunny with some of the vehicle sections and stuff. And the dialogue.
Rail. All hail, Sergeant Blonapart.
Thanks. Oh, yeah. That wasn't in the dialogue either. In fact, it was one of the ad-libs when we're saying, oh, can you make pain noises and stuff like that, which we didn't really use pain noises for the bosses taking damage, but we had them. And I liked Joe going, ow, like that. And so I just added it to the end of his death scream. To the end of his, no, why? I was planning to play tonight. Everything is speedrunning. Yeah, well, there's a time attack mode which skips all dialogue. And there's also frenzy mode, which is very speedrunny. But there are sections which are auto-scroll because of vehicles and stuff. So you might not like those. I don't know. But like, I do love speedruns, and I love the speedrunning community in AVGen and stuff, but I don't want to like, I don't like to like compromise my ideas for the sake of speedrunning, if that makes sense. Well, it depends on the game, but you know, there are times when I'm like, oh, speedrunners might not like it, but I'm also like, I don't want to not have a lava jet ski because speedrunners don't like auto-scroll. You know what I mean? You're great at letting us ad-lib parts of scripts. Thank you, Joe. That's important, you know. I always think this. Like, when I was a graphic designer, people would see my portfolio and then hire me and then just tell me precisely exactly the thing that they wanted. They had an idea, and they basically just wanted me to, you know, draw the thing that they already knew what they wanted. And I was always like, why don't you let me use the skills that I'm advertising here? And I think, like, if you're hiring talented people, you're hiring them for their talent. So let them use it, you know, and add some voice actors. Ad-libbing they're really good, you know, and man, Takahata in particular, there are whole lines of dialogue which he just ad-libbed on the spot and I wrote into the game. Yeah, Luke, yes. Yeah, it's graphic design. It's graphic design and web design. There's such underappreciated jobs. Like, people think of you as this just, you know. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got a story here. I'm going to start telling this story anyway, because this is, scratch this off the old bucket list. There's so many things have been scratched off the bucket list with due to Sparky. But I used to watch old anime films, manga videos, like Dominion Tank Police in particular is the one I love. And there's a voice actor that used to be in those called Sean Barrett. And I used to laugh about Tank Police, and we talk about it with Mensky a lot, and how much we loved it, and how much we loved the voice of Captain Britain, who was played by Sean Barrett. And when we started looking him up online, we found that Sean Barrett was so many great things. He was Gorwyn the Dragon in Through the Dragon's Eye. He's in Dark Souls as Andre the Blacksmith, and several other characters in Dark Souls 1 and 3. He was in the Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He was in Father Ted in a very, very small role, the boring voice man. He was in Return to Oz as TikTok. He was in The Dark Crystal. And the guy's in so many things, and he's absolutely amazing. And he's got this incredible voice. And he's funny as hell. And he does mostly audiobooks now. And when he does the audiobooks, his voice is like treacle. He can do so many voices. And we're at a pub one night just gushing about how great this guy was. And I said, like, if I ever have voice acting in a game, I'd need to try and seek him out. I mean, I doubt I'd find him, but I'd try and seek him out. And I'd search and search and search, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen. But I said to Mensky, you know Stuart Ashen's the channel. I mean, obviously you know him because your face just pops up in his videos randomly all the time, mysteriously, and he never explains why. And Ashen's made a movie, and he had Warwick Davis in the movie. He had Robert Llewellyn, and he got in touch with all these stars. And I just asked Mensky, can you ask Stuart where he finds these people's agents? And Stuart pointed us to this website. I think it was called Supernova, something like that. And I went on there, just did a search for Sean Barrett, and boom, there's his agency. And so we got on the phone with his agency, and we said, oh, we'd love him to, and they said, yeah, okay, we'll get back to you. And we waited for them to get back to me. I kept calling them back every week until eventually Sean Barrett emailed me in reply to, like, when I sent the script. And he emailed me, and he said, hi, Sam, I loved the script. And I was like, and he was like, and I'll do it. Because I said, it looks like we've got Sean Barrett to do this. So I said to John, when you write this character, Sean Barrett is really good at playing like an old military man having a breakdown. Look at Dominion Tank Police. So get the best you can out of him. So he wrote these absolutely insane lines. And Sean Barrett, he really liked the lines. He said they made him laugh. And so he phoned me and he said, he emailed me and said, I've read the script, I love it. And tried to hook me up with his agent. And eventually, his agent, they just weren't responding. So he just did it privately. He just phoned me up. And on the phone, he said to me, oh, he's got this really lovely posh voice. And he said, yes, he was born voice priest, yeah. But he was saying that, he was saying, oh, should I just try it out, just to try and make sure I get the voice right on the phone? I said, okay. And he says, what's the matter, wuss bucket? And going through all this. And he finishes that ridiculous line and he goes, what did you do today, Grandad? And I thought he was incredible. And what he did was he found a day when he was recording in a studio of a friend. And so they sent me the invoice for the studio time and for his, and they did it privately. They didn't do it through the agency. So I paid him for an hour of time, and he recorded it in the studio for us. And it was, I mean, hopefully the volume's loud enough, but I'm just, I'm presented without further comment. Oh, Shelley, graphic design is your day job too, yeah.
What's the matter, wuss bucket? You never seen a man take 15 hellfire rounds to the pelvis and then beat the enemy to death with his own severed legs? You never seen a man scoop the fleshy remains of his dignity into 48 tons of rock-hard military-grade weaponry and grab the universe by the horns?
Sir, not recently, sir.
You
febrile maggot.
You think you've got the chops to tango with me?
Sir, yes, sir. I am a cute, fluffy sociopath with an axe to grind. And I hear you're the mechanical marvel to make a man out of me, sir. But first, I gotta collect your bounty.
Well, ain't that real cute? Hey, wait a minute. Mama warned me about your kind.
I'm going to show you guys something after this boss battle. I'm going to pause the game and show you something after this. To do with Sean Barrett. I'm going to try and work with OBS and do the whole thing that the Vine Source streamers do, where they just like pop stuff on screen and stuff. But I want to. And if I can't get it right, Shello or Joe, you can help me. Your streamers. Yeah, the non-swears. Yeah.
I'll eat you for friggin' breakfast, you little.
I'll eat you for friggin' breakfast, you lot. That was me. I added that line. I just wanted the line that sounded like Britain from Tank Police. He had a couple of other lines which referenced Tank Police as well, but they didn't make the cut because we got a lot of dialogue from him, and we didn't want it to completely overwhelm the fight with just loads of dialogue. That's the part that really sucks with writing dialogue for games is I mean, the dialogue kind of makes it, you know, it completes Sparky, and I love the sense of humor of it, but also it's also kind of they want to be playing the game. So it's like you got to have like your balance between the amount. Oh, here we go, foreshadowing here, or clues to the story. Meniscus, you bilge. I love that so much. It makes no sense and it's perfect. I also love how he walks right in front of the sign with a picture of his own face on it, and he stops right in front of it. It's kind of like the IT crowd, you know. I wanted him to, it'd be too much animation at the time, I wanted to kind of knock on his head and make a noise from that.
Pain receptor.
Pain receptors activated.
Is that even enough?
And I love that gag as well. Actually, in the streams I've seen so far, it hasn't got as much of a gag as I thought, as much of a laugh as I thought it would. But it was actually one of those three-part jokes. He went doom cannons activated, electromanglers activated, and then Sparky says pain receptors activated. And all jokes are funnier when they come in threes, but it just didn't time right for the actual boss fight, so I had to kind of sacrifice a little bit of the comic timing of it. But also, there's a Sonic Adventure reference in here, believe it or not, because I asked him for a bunch of random lines as well, one including "get a load of this," and he actually said it in the exact right intonation. So I was so pleased. I didn't even ask; he just said "get a load of this" like that. And so I purposely made him say it when he fires the missiles. He doesn't say it every single time, but he does say "get a load of this" a little bit too often. Like he repeats himself with it, and it's a little bit not crappy, but you know, he says it just a little bit too often. And in fact, he's twice as likely to say "get a load of this" than he say his other line, which is "come to Papa." But it was referencing the final boss of Sonic's campaign in Sonic Adventure, because there's an attack that Robotnik has in the final fight where every time he does it, he says "get a load of this," and he'll do it 3 times in a row, twice, you know, 3 times in a row with a gap. And then another 3 times in a row. So get a load of this, 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 get a load, and it's ridiculous. And so that's referencing that. I'm so pleased with the animation on this guy. I spent ages getting it right. It actually uses some of the physics engine. So the feet, the like claws, I animated manually. But the actual legs connecting to the body are using physics. They're just using physics joints connecting to the body. So I animated the feet kind of thing, and Unity does the rest. Get a load of this. There we go. Whenever he says it twice in a row, I'm like, yep, Sonic Adventure reference achieved. Actually, Dave did notice that when I was showing him some footage of it, so that was good. That's Dave Bowman. So we had lines of Sarge referring to his mama a bunch more. And there was a part where Sparky says, "You sure like your mama, huh, Chief? Who ranks higher, her or your commanding officer?" And he says, same person, Chuggledunk. No one kills him like mama used to. But again, you can't include everything. Sometimes you got to cut what you love, because otherwise that boss battle would have just been all talk.
Who dies next?
A certain space rabbit, if you keep calling me Pops.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to this scene in a sec. I'm going to drop out of Sparky, and I'm going to try and show you guys this thing. Okay, so if I add some audio, you have to give me a moment because I've got to work this whole thing. But we have some Sean Barrett stuff. let's find the sound, shall we? Media source. Add source. How do we do this? Let's browse for the file. And it's because we got a whole bunch of extra stuff from Sean Barrett, which was him fighting you in front of his own sign has the same energy as people posing like the picture in the background by their desk, like an airplane. Yes, exactly. I was thinking of in when you do it in episode 1 of the IT Crowd with the boss guy. Was it Denham Renham? Right, I'm going to try and find where I've put this file. Development folder, voice, Sparky, Sean Barrett clips. Here we go. Okay, so I'll play one of these.
Line 1. Take 1. What's the matter, Wuss Bucket? You never seen a man take 15 hellfire rounds to the pelvis and then beat the enemy to death with his own severed legs? You never seen a man scoop the flesh?
Yeah, so the thing about Sean Barrett was that he would say, like, he'll say line 1, take 1, in this voice that's absolute treacle, and then suddenly switch over to this, like, what's the matter, Wuss Bucket? I couldn't hear, I'm monitoring, but I'll try that again. Is it going to work? Oh no. How do I get it to play again? 1 second, guys, sorry. Restart.
Line 1, take 1. What's the matter, Wuss Bucket? You never seen a man take 15 hellfire rounds to the pelvis and then beat the enemy to death with his own severed legs?
So I absolutely love it. But he did one thing: miscellaneous noises and ad-libs. In fact, I'm going to play so he did take 3 as one entire one. Let's get this one to play. What just happened? Sorry guys, I just lost everything for a sec there. Okay, I'm going to do this now.
I'll do the third version in a complete run-through. What's the matter, Wuss Bucket? You never seen a man take 15 hellfire rounds to the pelvis and then beat the enemy to death with his own severed legs? You never seen a man scoop the fleshy remains of his dignity into 48 tons of rock-hard military-grade weaponry and grab the universe by the horns?
Sir, not recently, sir.
You febrile maggot. You think you got the chops to tango with me?
Chrome is being slow.
Well, ain't that real cute? Hey, wait a minute. Mama warned me about your kind. Can your honeyed words, you puny scabwicket. I'm sweet enough already. I love the smell of pulse jets in the morning.
Yeah, wait, some deleted sign.
Dang darn it, Gladys. Where's my olfactory system? I love the smell of pulse jets in the morning. There's a lot of fight in you, fuzzbutt. There might be a place for you in this man's army yet. Tough love, Private. That's always been my motto. Now drop and give me 20 pounds of blood, sweat, and pain. You're screwed, short stuff. Bigger is always better, and it always has been.
Bigger is better and it always has been. That was it.
No, Mama.
Police.
Not the barbed wire.
Yeah.
At least let me put jam on it this time. Little hairball thinks he can defeat me. I'll show him. I'll get him. I'll make him pay. Oh, he's such a cute little furball. I just want to eat him all up. I'll eat you for friggin' breakfast, you little lab rat. Come to Papa.
Oh. So, I'm going to play you one more thing as well. Yeah, I was bouncing it up and down with the mouse while he was talking. So I got one more thing here because I also said I want some noises and ad-libs. And for context, I sent him a video of clips of him as Sergeant... not Sergeant Bonaparte, that's my character. Of him as Captain Britain in Tank Police. Say, this was the kind of thing that you used to do that I want here. And at the very beginning of that clip, there was just a montage of him saying, shit, 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 in all different ways. And He threw a little reference in there at the end for me. But here we go.
Miscellaneous noises and ad-libs. Yeah! Hey, what? I dang nabbit! Take this! Get a load of this!
There it is.
No! What? Hey, no! No! Oh! No! No! Oh! Shit!
There we go. He added a nice shit at the end for me, and I was very grateful for that. So, yeah, he was he was amazing, and it's heartbreaking that we couldn't use all of it, really, you know. But it would have ruined the game if it was just constant talking, even with that amazing. Yeah, and you know, when he recorded it, he was 82 years old. I just mind blown. And when Mensky and I knew about this, and a couple of friends and other people didn't, we were just, people they have to see this, you know. I need to do a whole documentary on Sean Barrett and how he's amazing, and you know how he was in my childhood when Through the Dragon's Eye, and how he was in all these amazing things. And I remember Mika, who voices a couple of the bosses in this, came to me and they just went, "You got a fucking TikTok in Sparky." Flashback material for Sparky 2. Yeah, exactly. Well, the way I see it, Sparky logic, I know you see the enemies completely explode, but they could come back with bandages on if they had to. Anyway, let's I'll play a little more Sparky. Just go back to the build I was in. I'm finding it. I do have a video of a private video on YouTube with some of those Sean Barrett outtakes, which I can probably make public now. But let's just get the game back up. I'll check you guys can see it as well. There we go. Okay. Sparky 2, Son of Sparky. Spark harder. Okay, yeah, you're up to Mucus Belt and another one of Elizabeth's levels. I'm just gonna let her know that I'm streaming in case she wants to pop in. So just give me just a second. I'm streaming Sparky. Oh god, I'm too slow on the phone. Hang on. This isn't gonna pop up on screen, is it? No. Good. Where are you? Twitch.tv/FreakZoneGames. I'll send that to a couple of other people as well. Nice if Tom Campbell showed up as well, but he's obviously got it's got a lot. He's often streaming himself. Right, I'm gonna send it to John as well. Anybody else I can send that to? Just sending invites to people I know. Yeah, okay. Back to the game. I'm just going to check on the chat as well. Sparky 3, Sparky's Revenge, Sparky 4, Bride of Sparky. We're talking about Chucky here? Okay, going to drop out because I haven't gotten this part of the game. Oh, fair enough. Yes, thank you, Fee. Really nice to see you here, mate. Take care and congratulations. Thank you. It's still kind of sinking in that it's out there. Thanks for joining us, Fee. Well, I'll catch up soon and watch some cartoons, okay? Also got to try. Okay, thank you, John. Thank you. John's been actually demoing the game at the store that he works in. What an absolute legend. Thank you so much, John. He made like a little kiosk with the Switch on and everything. Thanks, guys. Right. Mucus Belt.
Well, he sure was a fun guy. I really think we had a connection there towards the end.
Know the feeling, Sparks? Something in the air?
You mean aside from the blood?
The
whistle,
Shig and Sparky's
bullets?
bromance kind of blossoming here.
Who dies next?
Yeah, post the pictures up, please, John. In fact, I could probably
You and I
share them
both
on
know
here at
who'd
some
win
point.
that fight. Pops.
Yup, can't argue with that. Next up is a creature called Bonsai.
Bonsai.
Big, ugly, mysterious.
Your standard monster package. I love that.
Nobody knows where it came from, but it's a
And I added the It's a Hell of a Grunt because I did that afterwards once we realized who was going to be playing him.
Does that even
Well,
mean?
once you'd already
Hey,
recorded
don't
it and
ask
everything.
me. I just enforce the law. I don't make it.
You got a problem? Take it up with your local
Take it up
space
with your local
representative.
Space representative.
Didn't we kill that guy?
Great line.
Oh yeah.
Democracy in
Democracy
action.
in action.
Okay, the mucus belt. Another
This place
Elizabeth
looks
scene.
like it's got a bad case of. Ugh. Surely there's a cream for that.
Now, Spark, if you could avoid touching the mucus walls and keep your eyes on the.
So what was really cool about this scene was we had this like alien level. It was just the alien
I want to make a note so I know now.
the alien level trope, you know. And we had this like gross green snotty looking level. And as you can see here, there's a bunch of talk about the actual origins of the place, which wasn't in the game. But Elizabeth was like, can I kind of come up with some ideas about what the place is so that she can be talking about it? And yeah, and this was all her just coming up with where Slime Hive came from.
Sweet as I look.
So brilliant. So because of that, I needed a couple of help with enemy sprites, and Luke drew these space bees based on that dialogue. A lot of time picking my nose to research to look at the mucus walls. Yeah, totally. Shoved a GoPro up there.
Seriously, this is so gross. It smells too. I've seen cleaner public bathrooms.
Yeah, I hear you, Spark.
You clearly ain't never seen the rest stop off out near Firepoint Station.
I don't know if Farpoint is talking about Star Trek Next Generation.
Go since.
The things you've seen.
Yes. Yeah. It's only nothing but commitment from the game dev.
My God, that thing's huge.
I reckon I can handle it.
Shig confirmed by that is canon. That's him saying that he could take it because it looks like a big penis. I mean, nothing but sensitivity over here. I actually took that line. I was like, could we write like, Shig said, I wanted Sparky to say something like, oh, if anybody got a problem with that, send them to me for some explosive sensitivity training. And then Shig being like, you're one of the good ones, Spark. But we felt it was just too forced, you know. So we just had that little gag there. You can theorize if you want, but yeah, confirmed. Shig takes it both ways. Just like me. This is a big penis. That's a penis. That guy from How I Met Your Mother in here. That would be good.
Never be able to
It's a
unsee.
nose. Hey, JSJ Rod.
Live feed is a piece of junk.
Happy Friday.
I see a good landing spot. Catch you later. Shigazig ah.
Shigazig ah.
Shit, what?
So that was, I added the Shigazig ah line in there because it's just funny. Sparky and Shig just like making like mutations of each other's names as nicknames just throughout the game, and I just think all different ways. Like he's got Shigaloaf, Shigmomanometer is at the very end of the game, and he's like, "Don't ever call me that." And but you know, Elizabeth added Shigaloaf, and other people added. John had a bunch of them in there. It was Shiggy, Shigsy. They just have all these like this Spark plug and just Spark and all that. But I had the idea to have them say Shigazig ah because, to be fair, the majority of people playing this are going to remember the Spice Girls. They're going to be at that age if they want, you know, Mega Drive nostalgia. But of course, Sebastian, who plays Sparky, is he's in his 20s. So it was really interesting. A English person in his 30s trying to explain to a an American in his 20s what Zigga Zig Ah is so that he could pronounce it properly. Because he sent me like Shigga Zigga, Shigga Zig Ah, and all this stuff, and I had to send him Wannabe by the Spice Girls to listen to. And to be fair, it is a bop. Yeah, the Johnson bit from Austin Powers. Yeah, damn right, by Shigsy. By representation. See these little patterns up here? I kind of let Anthony do, Anthony does a lot of the tile sets, and I let Anthony just kind of go wild with this weird, like, not HR Giga, not snot kind of thing. And he had all these patterns, but this one here I added because, that's stupid, but that is a loss edit. You see that? The one line, the two lines, and then the one line and the one line down, just with the divider along the middle. That's loss. You had the same son growing up, and I'm the same age. Oh, well. All right, thank you. I'm glad you like the game. Thank you. But I've been talking all about the game, the voice acting, and the story behind it, getting it made and stuff. This level, I put a lot of the flamethrowers in this level, trying to encourage players using, because Sigourney Weaver in Alien uses a flamethrower. Oh yeah, this stuff. It was going to be, I wanted like a bouncy kind of Casino Night type level with the you know, the pinball stuff. We go ping, ping, ping in Sonic, and I was like, but to make it different so it's not like a casino, and I thought just bouncy egg sacks. And this is kind of based on a weird thing that was in my old Freddy the Frog game from like 1999, where it was like seaweed type stuff that you bounced on, and it's kind of based on that. And the sound effect you're hearing, that sound effect was I actually licensed the Hanna-Barbera sound effects library to use in my games, and that is, I wanted it to sound like the mushrooms in Mushroom Hill Zone in Sonic and Knuckles, and I got a mud bubble sound from Hanna-Barbera and like auto-tuned it to try and get it to sound like it. Sebaceous cysts, I think. Yeah. Whoa. That was poor performance there, Sam. The music in this level was originally going to be the music for the laboratorium. And the laboratorium music was going to be for this, but we found that the melodies of them like really fit better the other way around, so Geist just like changed them about, so this one's has more squelchy kind of synths, and the lab one has much more computery sounds. I think it works much better this way. Oh, Geist is here! And he just said that! That's amazing. Good to see you, man. Yes, it's exactly what I just said. He has just said in the chat. Yeah. Fantastic job with the soundtrack. You can get the soundtrack on his Bandcamp, by the way. Feel free to put a link in the chat, mate. If Twitch allows links in chat. Oh, I don't want to watch cyst removals. Yeah. Wait, where am I going? Here we go. That's Carl's voice going la, 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 like that. And it's also Carl doing these guys jumping around like that. I can't do those noises, but he's awesome. About the stream, so figured to check in for it. Thanks, Geist. Yeah, you did an awesome job, and I found your stuff. I can't remember how I found your stuff, but I heard a couple of tracks from one of your albums which had like Sega Genesis Mega Drive sounds, mixed with, you know, higher quality sounds and everything, and I loved them, and I was like, let's see if this guy can do it. Oh, I loved working on this too. Obviously, this is my passion project, and you know, the guys at Nicholas really believed in it as well. You know, they gave me good budget so I could hire all the voice actors and the musician and everything. Gotta have a Orbinaut boss, haven't you? Gotta have the boss with the, which is orbiting. Ready to go. I believe you can defeat this guy before you actually defeat the little orbiting ones, because the health bar is just for the nucleus. Sometimes you just gotta sacrifice some health to get the hits in, because fuck it. Excuse me. So I am, I'll pause for a second, and I'm going to send a couple more little invites out to people that were involved, just in case they didn't see that I'm streaming. If they want, in case they want in. Just going to pop a couple of those out now, real quick, just in case anybody wants to pop in. Just sending a couple out to other streamers I know as well. And Takahata, he probably won't show up, he's a busy man. But I sent to Dave as well. He's probably busy, but you never know. So, you know, I don't know how the game's doing. I won't know. I probably won't know for a good few months because, you know, it's a quarterly thing with the publisher. But what I'm pleased about is the people that are playing it seem to really like it. Whereas the people that it's designed for, there are people that I've seen streaming it that didn't like it, but they were people who don't like this kind of game and just bought it because of one of the voice actors, and that's fine too. That's why I've got the easy difficulties. Just go in there and set it to that difficulty instead of getting frustrated with it. But yeah, I'm just sending a couple more of these out. Excuse me. Whoa, the beer burps. Who else are going to do? Oh yeah, do you know what? I'm going to send it to my little friend group I've got on Twitter. Sorry guys, this isn't very entertaining, is it? If you've got any questions, go ahead and ask them in the thing. I like how the bosses have the usual retro tropes, but you also throw some absolute curveballs in too. Yeah, that's pretty much our the kind of motto of the bosses. This is very much based around the bosses as well. This is, you know, because of Alien Soldier, that was very much boss centric. I wanted a bit more level design than in Alien Soldier, but in general it is focused around the boss fights, and the fact that they talk to you I think helps a lot as well. I think I've sent that out to everybody that I can that was involved. Oh, we've got some fan art. Oh, I love it when I get fan art. I'm gonna share this. I'm going to save that and I'm going to share that while I'm seeing it. Let's go. Image. I'll get used to this eventually, I promise. Oops. There we go. I've got to shrink that down. That's come out a bit big. Oh. Phew. That's cool. Who's this by? Let me just check who that came from. So oh, it's Robert Downey. Oh my goodness, Robert Downey drew it. Oh, I'm honored. That's the guy, he draws all the wrestlers and everything, and he knows. That's great. Look at that. I get found out. There's a guy called, he calls himself the guy who draws a lot, who draws a lot of Sparky fan art as well, and his stuff is incredible. Maybe I'll have to do a fan art stream at some point. But, wonderful. I'm just going to reply to that. Yeah, doink. And it's been shared on the stream. All right. Let's resume the game. And check on the chat. It's currently sitting at 5 out of 5 positive reviews on Steam. Yeah, that's good. And 5 reviews in one night isn't bad for a game that's not based on, like, Angry Video. I mean, the game's been out for, like, a day. So that's pretty good, 5 reviews in the first day. As we got, I think this project started out as Flap and Zap. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Carl. This was Flap and Zap. It was a because, well, Mr. Carl, I always wanted to make a game together with me, as I said earlier on, and I was trying to make a quick mobile game, which eventually that became Night Terrors, but Sparky was going to be the quick mobile game. But, you know, the arcadey thing with like 2 button inputs. And the idea was just flap and zap, you fly and you shoot. And we just really fell in love with the characters. And, you know, we said we wanted voice acting, this and that. And we needed a budget for that. And it got big. So I was like, right, I need to take a break and make this small mobile game something else. And I need to build on this. And it became I always wanted to make a Gunstar Heroes style game because no indie developers seem to be doing that. And they should. And so I turned Sparky into that because I felt the characters really fit it well. What was I going to share? I remember. All right, I'm going to show some other little images here as well. Just a second. So I guess I'll get to this in a sec. I'm going to show you some sketches. So here's an early sketch of Sparky. Damn it, I keep moving the wrong one. There's an early sketch of Sparky. Then when it was Flap and Zap, that was one of the closest to the final design. And a lot of these were drawn in a pub with Mr. Carl, with me. Sparky has two 9 out of 10 reviews. That's awesome. I saw there was one 9 out of 10 review by a user who it was a user who clearly really hated Metroid Dread because he'd given Sparky a 9 and Metroid Dread a 1, and he wrote about Sparky, the best game on the Switch about a space bounty hunter. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But we got some of these some ridiculous just pages full of okay, that's just space stuff. I'm having to import them based on their thumbnails, you know. But we got like early Planet Dave and things. Where's the Planet Dave one? That'd be good to show. Oh, this was one of the early ideas for the mad scientist. But then I took it to the sort of much gorier extent in the end. Oh, look at, so see this guy here was what, but this was Carl's drawing, which I then interpreted. There's quite a few steps to adding pictures in this thing, sorry, but that was Carl's drawing, which I then interpreted into this, which then got turned into the sprite in the game by Anthony, Lucky Softworks. Let's delete some of these. Yeah. I hope I'm not deleting anything important for the stream. Yeah, so there was a... Hey, Maya, you all right? Thank you for coming in. I'm just seeing the chat now. I'm going to bring Sparky back to full screen again. I think... Just check on the stream to make sure... Yeah, there's nothing else in the way then. That's good. Let me just check if I've missed anything in the chat. Sparky is best boy indeed. Mustache. Yes, the scientist with the mustache. Yeah, because Carl drew a scientist that mutated, and I remembered I had a villain for the old Shig game that that never got made. That I kind of it never went anywhere. But there was a mad scientist called Dr. Votsit, and I was like, we could use that and work from that. He could have created Sparky, and then he could mutate into something because of his experiments. And so it looked more like an R-type thing, like a big, ugly, massive guts on one side of the screen to begin with in the picture that you saw. But eventually it mutated into another idea I'd had a long time, which I was calling the sadistic face, which is that sort of the science bust, the half muscles, half skull thing you see in... you are by no means an artist. Fair enough, Mr. Carl. It's about the ideas, not about the drawing. This is a lot of empty space, but sometimes you have to have that because I had the whole thing where the next act carries right on where you left off, Sonic and Knuckles style. Did the name Votsit come from the snack? Yeah, it was more like, if you say like you don't know somebody's name, you go, oh, it's what's it? What's his name? What's it? I don't know if it's a British thing, but you say like, oh, what's it? And I was like, yeah, what's it? And then you do it in a German accent, and it's what's it. That was it, really. Oh, I'll tell you all about Dr. Votsit when we get to him. That noise when these guys show up, that's Mika being hilarious. The second vehicle shooter segment prior to this level, where the eye enemies and mini-boss based on Jainuk. Oh, on the Mega Drive. Second, which section was that? That was second vehicle shooting segment prior to. Oh, the mucus hive. No, what's it called? Mucus belt. Loosely, a lot of this game had some Jainuk, however the hell you say it, inspiration, because I never actually finished that game, but I watched videos of it and stuff, and they had a lot of the gory, gross stuff, and all of the phallic stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of that in there. It was kind of, I wanted, because this was inspired by Alien Soldier and Gunstar Heroes, I wanted to also do just like Mega Drive in general and Sonic and stuff. And yeah, Gainu did come up, and I did reference, the, you know, the whole idea of that there's always a phallic boss in the shmups was yeah. Yes, what's it being the derivative of whatchamacallit, yeah. This is Mika's voice. Somebody told me this was one of their favorites in the game, so fair play, Mika.
Where are the other 3?
No, you idiots. There's not 4 of them.
Thingamajig. Dr. Thingamajig.
4 forearms.
4 forearms? You mean forearms? You only have 4 arms.
No,
I wanted you to be able to carry on controlling Sparky in the cutscenes, just because he isn't the kind of guy that would stand still. And so I had to hold your fire as like reference things like House of the Dead and stuff like that, you know, the arcade stuff. And I just made it dynamic, so the speech bubbles move around to the optimum position. The speech bubbles moving to optimum position were based on Comics Zone on the Mega Drive, because they do that in that game. You can play while the speech bubbles are coming up, and so they just move to like wherever would be the best position to have them based on where you currently are. And Alien Soldier has like a boss intro where the boss will come in and like show off whatever, and you can still control the game while that happens, but you can't damage the boss. But what I didn't like about that was that what I didn't like about that was that you could shoot at it and it wouldn't damage it, and I don't like that, not getting the feedback of damaging it. So I had the idea that Sparky's gun would jam during the cutscenes. So you get that little when you try to use it. Oh, I'm so proud of the animation on this guy. I think I spent a lot of time animating this guy. The idea of him was that he was one of Carl's designs, a guy with four arms with swords, and then I took it and made it a bit more alien. And then the sprite artist who was helping me, this was Chris Jerky Bastin, he made it a little more skeletal as well. That was an ad-lib line actually suggested by John on the day. So ad-libbed by the writer, not the... he just said, oh, you could say this. But for forearms, the idea of the way he moves and the way you fight him is based on Chi Tiger in Alien Soldier, the one you fight on top of the train. I never finished it either. To be honest, I saw the mini-boss and thought, oh, it kind of looks like a dick. And it reminded me, yeah, absolutely. It was a thing to have phallic bosses in shmups. So I did one. This boss, yeah, he's pretty tough, but he's just dashing a lot is the way to... You learn he's got really long tells, so when he's about to attack, he's got a really long wind-up, which gives you a good chance to dash out of the way of it. Kneel down and crouch down and shoot his legs. And then when he flies, you can shoot him from underneath. And yeah, when he spins, you just gotta like pray. But yeah, it's whoop. When he does the whole, you know, spinning swords and running at you, it just time dashes. A little bit General Grievous, yeah. That might be where Carl got the idea for the 4 swords. The 4 swords. Legend of Zelda, the 4 swords. Legend of Zelda, 4 forearms. There was something that I definitely wanted from the beginning was for the enemies to have little funny noises that they'd make. I love that. He came off screen, went off screen again, came back, finished his line. The dialogue from the train. Yeah. That was all John's writing. There's a couple of lines that I put in there, and a little bit of ad-libbing from Dave Ballmer. I loved his read of the line, please do not acknowledge the giant pink man. Okay, interesting. Oh, yes, different boss here now. I've moved some of these around from early versions. Nightshade. I love Nightshade. This is where the game started getting hard, yeah.
Wait, what are you doing? I strike from the dark. No,
so, I read John's scripts for Nightshade, and I modified her design a little bit to be a bit more that maybe some furries might be thirsty for her in a way. You know, she's pretty cool looking.
You little...
because I was like, people are gonna ship them.
Never unleashed a play.
People are gonna ship
Yeah,
these two based on the.
meaning to,
It's like,
but
get a room,
there's
goddammit.
never enough time, you know?
She secretly likes him back a little bit. She won't admit it, but she does. That's canon. I'm the creator. But yeah, there are hints, you know, like when he says, "Oh, I don't know where I come from," and she's like, "Oh, you too, huh?" I should have made when she fires the missiles. I should have made her also say, "Get a load of this." I think Nightshade is one of my favorite characters in there. Oh, Nightshade or Shig, huh? Yeah, you know people are going to ship Sparky and Shig as well.
Congratulations, Spark Plug.
Broke
Even
thirsting
if
for
you
Nightshade,
weren't
woke
standing
thirsting
in
for the
my
weird
way,
clown head thing.
the list.
My wow!
Melon head.
References are so hard to
I
kind of work.
I ship Sparky and Melon head.
Right at your
I mean, I don't know. Does he have
So
any
true,
orifices?
so
Oh, I
true.
shouldn't. There might be kids
Deep
watching this.
down, we all have the power to write our own destiny.
My drawing was horrific, but so glad how it turned out.
She's so inspirational.
I mean, I don't think it was horrific. Damn thighs. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you about. I'll tell you about Nightshade's thighs, because. So here's the thing, right? I always noticed this, and it's the thing I never liked. If you look at characters like Sonic, Rayman, characters that are made out of bubble shapes, you know, spheres, and just cartoony blob characters that aren't quite human proportion. Sparky here, you know, generally you draw a big circle for the head and a smaller circle for the body and some big hands and feet and some arms, right? And that's what you do with Sonic. Whenever you get a girl character, they just would, if you just drew the male body, it doesn't look right, right? But they don't want to just be like, oh, put boobs on. So they always give them clothes. So it's really bizarre because it's like just all these male animal characters running around, and all the girls have got clothes on. It's like, what is this? Something? The girls have to hide their modesty? What? And then they had on one of the Sonic cartoons, they had Princess Sally, who was one of the few that wasn't drawn that way. She was drawn without clothes, and people fucking thirst for her. And I mean, people thirst for anything, it's fine. But it's like, but why is that? And they draw her with like, she's not got cartoony proportions. She just looks like a woman's body with a massive head just plopped on top of it. And then gradually in the Archie comics, Jay Axer used to just start drawing her as just, well, that guy was definitely a furry. And I've often thought to myself, I was like, how do you draw, what would be the answer to this, right? I don't like that they just put clothes on the girls and not on the boys, but I wouldn't want them to just draw like a fit bird's body, so to speak, either, because that's just weird. And I was like, I feel like the answer is that you know, a cartoon is an exaggeration, right? So on a male body in a cartoon, you do that pot belly, the circle, the sphere, as Sparky's body is here. So if that's an apple shape for a male, then a cartoon female surely should be a pear shape, because when men put fat on their stomach, women put fat on their hips and legs, right? So it just makes sense to draw like a pear shape. And I was like, I can try that with Nightshade, because and it's ironic because Sparky is the male character. Sparky is wearing clothes, but I was designing it that way, and I was like, and I thought of Midna in Twilight Princess, who has that kind of shorts, that kind of pear shape to her, and I kind of drew that for Nightshade. And I liked the whole idea was going to be that she doesn't have arms and she's got these robot arms, so that shape worked really well with it as well. So I gave her this tiny little chest and this big like lower body so that the arms could fit there. But I had this sprite and I had this script, and I was like, nah, the furries are going to descend upon it, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine, you know, to each their own. But it's just, I feel like that should be the way that you would draw a cartoony girl character. You do the pear shape. I don't know why people haven't figured that out, because, yeah, I don't know. But, you know, they say they got it with Midna in Twilight Princess and stuff. Drawing melon head a body. Hell yeah, do it. Shipping Planet Dave and Tough Cookie. Oh no! I mean, I suppose they're about the same size. Man, this is gonna get weird, isn't it? You know you've made it when you find Rule 34 of your characters, right? Nightshade will probably be the first. I don't know. People think that Louise Lightfoot's gonna be the one that people will draw in funky ways, but I don't know. It feels weird, but fuck it. Internet gonna internet. Sally in the comics got me like staring at Ken Penders. Yeah, it was an artist called Jay Axer, and it's weird, man. I don't know. I mean, look at things like Rouge the Bat. Like, she's that kind of character, but she's not drawn in that that way. There are some pictures by Jay Axer that were canon in that comic that just looked like, so it looked like he went and knocked one out after he drew him. Like, what were they doing? He did it with Bunny Rabbit as well, the half rabbit bunny, the half robot bunny. I don't know. You know what? I want to put that up on screen actually before I fight this guy. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Right? This was in the official American Sonic comic. I hate the American Sonic comic. It can bugger off, but you know. So I'm saving a lot of weird images here. So you'll know what Princess Sally is supposed to look like, but all right, just adding this in. Well, that's come up there very small. So he would just, it's like, some of the lines that this artist has chosen to draw on this children's, what is she, squirrel chipmunk character. It's like, yes, they must know the shape of the chipmunk's pubic bone. Yeah, Pac-Man, just put a bow on it. Yeah, do that. But there's one particular picture that I think sums up that era of the American Archie comics so much. I'm trying to find it. And it makes me laugh every time. I can't find it. Oh, this is going to be in my search history now. Yeah, I can't find the thing. But if anybody can, there's a picture of Sonic and Sally, and it just looks like this massive Sonic, just a guy in like a weird Sonic suit, just hugging this like naked woman. Oh, I found the offending image. Hold on, it's a low res one. I should check chat really, otherwise, and just like, you know, game dev rants about Jay Axer furry images. My word, look. This was canon. This isn't some weird fan art. This was in the flipping Archie comics. Like, he's just drawn a bottomless girl there. I mean, that's just, I don't get it. I mean, look, it's fine if you're a furry. It's fine, right? That's weird though, right? Look at these big ass white Mickey Mouse gloves and these pipe cleaner legs and this squishy boy next to this just straight up woman. I don't like it. Here's the thing, right? If both characters were like that, that's fine, right? And you could, you know, you could quote Danny Sexbang when the Game Grumps episode. I don't care who you are, it's hot, right? But if both characters were like human looking, right, or human looking furries, what the fuck ever. But the fact that it's this kid's Mickey Mouse based character, like just making out with this, I hate it so much. It makes me cross. And that seems to stem from just the fact that they used to draw Sally as, I mean, in the cartoon, it was effectively a body like this, but with a massive head. And they just made the head smaller. And do you want me to redraw that replay? Steve, I'm so glad you're here. Please do that. That would be fucking amazing. But yeah, I hate it so much. And the Archie comics, I mean, the UK comics were incredible, and those Archie ones are so, I mean, there's some weird people worked on them. The new ones, the IDW ones, are great. They feel a lot like a continuation of the UK one in a lot of ways, just naturally, because they're based on the games. But that was weird. But as I say, Nightshade's design came out of my, like, just musing on how do you draw a girl character in that style without just drawing like the same circle you do for a male, but without also just throwing clothes on them or doing like just tits. So, and that was my answer. It was, you know, the pear shape. It makes sense. I'm just going to catch up on the chat. Sparky already had a Rule 34 moment with Louise Lightfoot. Yeah, somebody did. Fan artist drew a picture of Sparky kind of enjoying Louise Lightfoot's bum. That is true. It wasn't like full on dodgy. He was just kind of looking at it and looking lustful. I don't think of my characters that way, but it's funny that somebody drew it. I just realized that when I threw up that picture of Sally, Acorn, and Sonic, Joe said Tails looks a bit different there. I mean, I'm sure there are pictures of that. Maya says, also, regarding Rule 34, there's another game that's been out for, a week, and there's already Rule 34 now. I'm sorry, but we cannot save Sparky and Co. from their fate. As I say, when you see Rule 34 characters, you know that's when you've made it. What game is that? Want me to redraw that? Yeah. No, Steve, you got to do it now. Now you've said it, you got to do it. Just Sparky making out with Sonic and just crying. You got to do it, man. You got her design just right. Thank you, Shadow. I am really proud of Nightshade. I don't think it's like, I think people are still gonna like have the thirst, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I just found it, I don't want to say offensive, but it just seems wrong that they draw these like accurate women bodies, or they cover them up entirely when the male characters look like, you know, an apple and some pipe cleaners. So that was my answer to that. Apples and pears. Sam is asking for research. I did. It was years ago now, but I wonder if I can dig it up. Damn it. This is one of the parts that I actually die on. It was years ago now, but I actually did a thread all about that Archie Sonic and how it's just... Because everybody wonders why there's like such weirdness in the Sonic fandom. It's like, well, this is what they were getting. This music is some of John DJ Yoshiman's. I think it's awesome. Whoa. Effectively, Geist. Now I regret how long it takes for that platform to come on screen. That's something I'd like to improve on. Geist did most of the soundtrack. John provided some tracks because two reasons. One was that, well, he wanted to, and one was that, you know, because, you know, if Geist is busy and John's not. You know, but I think he did a brilliant job, and I remember saying to him, see, he downloaded the game and he was starting it up, and he was saying, oh, this is cool, it's kind of weird. And I said, yeah, you're going to hear your music on Nintendo. And he went, oh, I never even thought about that. And he lost it. It was great. The character designs in Sparky are great and fun and really well. Thank you. Character design is me and Carl mostly, with occasionally with Luke coming in when he does this space hopper that Sparky's on. That was Luke's work, for example. Because often I'd need a sprite and he'd be like, do you want me to take some of the load off? Because I just talk with them at late night. I'll be working late and I'll be talking with Luke and John, because Luke's in America and John's in Canada. And Luke would just say, do you want me to do a couple of sprites, save you some time? And sometimes it's something that wasn't designed yet, and he'd go, well, I'll take it, I'll take over. Yeah, you can bounce off the explosion. I'm glad you like the song, Geist, because you know, that means a lot to me, because John, you know, he wanted to match your style, and he was saying earlier when he was with us, he was saying that he doesn't think that his stuff lives up to your stuff, or like it pales in comparison. He said, and I think he still does a great job. That's right. If I tell you it was an art of a certain lanky blue monster from a recent horror game. Oh my goodness! What, I forget what that thing's called, like Cuddles or something like that from Poppy. What was it called? Oh, what's that game called? Poppy something, and it's about like, it's like a creepy doll, and it's this weird blue lanky clown thing that chases you, and it chases you into like the crawl spaces and stuff when you don't expect it, and it's amazingly animated with like inverse kinematic stuff. It's absolutely amazing. Bouncing monster head thing reminds me of Boglins. Yeah, mini Boglins. I love the bonk noise when he hits his head. Yeah, let's do that. There you go. He did do a super great job. I'll make sure that he knows that you said that as well. Okay, I think we're coming up to Aaron from Game Grumps' part. I'm going to have the flamethrower and the homing ones. Poppy playtime. That's nice. Huggy Wuggy. Thank you, Matt.
It's all over, you ugly piece.
I love this scene. This was my scene. I wrote this one.
There's a hell of a bounty on your head.
John made some adjustments.
I'm the guy who's gonna collect it.
Many have tried, strange long-eared thing, but none have managed to find my weak spot.
Is it your eye?
What?
Your big weird eye. Seems like that would be your weak spot.
No. No, it is definitely not my eye. So shooting there would be a total waste of your time. In fact, my eye is my strong spot. It'd be a huge waste of ammo. Definitely don't attack my big eye. A huge, vulnerable eye.
Okay, and then...
Ah, my eye! My one weak weakness! How did you know?
Just a hunch.
That was one of those things where like, just keep this joke going. I can just take it way too far. But yeah, it's every Legend of Zelda game seems to have sometimes more than one boss where it's just got a giant eye. It's like, oh, I wonder what the weak spot is. And I love Zelda, but come on, it's like such a obvious trope. And so I thought I wanted to make fun of that and had the idea that he's like, none have managed to find my weak spot. And Sparky's like, it's your eye, right? And so, is it your eye? No. And so we have the second part here where he...
Oh, that hurt, you puny bug! No matter.
Yes, he said not to attack, and I did. It's like I'm some kind of sociopathic murder rabbit or something.
Kind of tailor would make a suit.
Here's a good color palette, thank you.
The poncho.
There you go. He's got his welding mask.
You were powerless, so take that.
Maybe, but can you still see?
Should at least attack with claws first out of courtesy.
Uh-oh.
His guns. He's just got gingivitis. I love a full screen boss as well. So he attacks blindly because he can't see. So then in frustration he takes it back off again and he goes back to his normal attack pattern, and that's when he's vulnerable. So it's about waiting, like, you know, you can't get any damage in here, but it's about waiting until because his attack's flailing because he can't see you, he doesn't know where you are. But then he takes it off and his attacks get accurate again, but that's when he's vulnerable. So it's like just surviving through his random attacks, and then I'll get you. Some of Aaron's ad-libs was great. And I'll tell you a bit about Aaron when in a minute. Got him.
The little long-eared thing has exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, oh my god, the mask. So, I'll tell you about Aaron. He was wonderful because I've just paused it while it's fading out. I direct messaged him because he was following me, and I asked him if he could provide his voice because I've seen he'd done voice in games and stuff. And I've been a fan of his stuff since the Awesome series. You know, it was like Awesome Fantasy 7 and Metal Gear Awesome and all that way back in the day. And so I was like, it would be so great if I could just get him in it. And I asked him his rates, and he said, well, I'm union, so I can't do stuff that's not hired through the union, so I will do it for free. So he didn't charge me anything for that, which that's lush. You know, so nice that he did that. And he also said he really loved Night Terrors, so it was an honor to do it, and that just felt great. And he sent some great recordings. I added an effect to the voice because it needed to sound like a really monstrous, but I tried to keep the effect relatively light so his performance really comes through, you know. No worries, Mr. Carl. Thank you for coming. Adieu.
What a guy. Who do I get to partner
This will be the archive of this will be up on YouTube later.
Beef nozzle.
Beef nozzle.
What?
Oh, sorry.
That was my line as well.
Reassociating. The heck is a space badger?
Your next target. This guy was in my biker gang back in the day. Until he
What would often happen is I'd write like a very basic scene, and then John would make it good. And yeah, it was really nice of Aaron to just do it for free. No problem.
A biker? Not that I care, but let's
The sarcasm. You a biker? Look at the guy.
Collecting indictments. Wants to be the first criminal ever to be guilty of every crime in the galaxy.
even mail fraud?
Especially mail fraud.
You've chilled me to my core, Shakesy. That badger is toast.
Even mail fraud. Love that line. Right, so I'm gonna have to do a be right back. I don't know if you guys want me to continue this or if you want me to continue another day, but I'm gonna do a be right back anyway. So I'm gonna mess around with this program again, which is because I'm learning it, you know. Be right back. Oh, typos. Yeah. You know what I'm doing here. Yeah. Right back. So if I press A, B, and C at the same time, maybe I can get those blue spheres for you, Luke. Let's see what everybody's been saying. Where were we? Get some blue spheres while you're away. Yes, we need more Sparky. Sure, I'll play more. Yeah, so what do you all reckon Sparky's last name is? Or Sparky the last name, his first name Spectacular? Well, technically his name is Leporum Stella. That's what Dr. Votsit dubbed him. The world's first life form created entirely with stardust and also a rabbit. But also Sparky McSparkface, I like that. Or is it more like Cher Prince, just Sparky? The artist formerly, the bounty hunter formerly known as Sparky. His real name is 2 one-star ears. The Michelin star Sparky's secretly a great cook. Signature dish, child grilled space badger and beef stroganoff. Fair. Alright, let's drop this menu music out. And go to Sparky. Let's get rid of the no way stuff as well. I'm getting better at this, see? Oh, gone. And the game. Sparky Votsit. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, we're back in. I think it's working. You got the sound up and everything. Yeah. Bring the chat back up. Thank you.
Jeez, that's hot. Makes the guy wish he didn't have.
Everything good? The sound still on and everything, guys?
What do you expect? It's a sun mining facility, not some type of ice rink.
Remember the ice caves on Freezon 7 when I took down Slippery Larry with his own
Slippery
sickle
Larry.
and then used his body as a bobsled?
You know, it's brilliant that
Good times.
because I didn't even ask for this, but Elizabeth wrote this, and it's a trope that it's a thing that I love, is when like a character or characters talk about an experience that's, you know, you've never seen it in a story and you never will see it, but it's just like an idea. You get things like Doctor Who where they have like 60 years worth of stories to pull from where you can talk, but I like the idea when you just make something up, like Slippery Larry, and you took him down with their own sickle. There's another one which didn't make the cut, but just because of time. But there was a line which was something like, "I haven't been this hot since I singed my my fur while I was roasting s'mores over somebody or other's car wreck." Fizzbit Frank, it was. AVGN Adventures reference. Yes, the Santa Sledge. Yeah. There's also, well, you know, there's a bit where you ride a jet ski which resembles a... Oh, I fucked up. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. There's a bit where you ride a jet ski which resembles a shark through some lava. And remember the fire shark in AVGN as well. What's this say? Like a real streamer, Sam. It's looking great. Thank you. I see that level get made. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Oh, well, I think I started from the beginning anyway. I guess I restarted from the checkpoint. Can't remember what that button does now. I think that does restart you from the checkpoint, yeah. Alright, Giant Claw. I had a reference to the Giant Claw in Manos, The Hands of Fate, the game, because it's based on a terrible movie, and I had references to other terrible movies in there as well, like Robot Monster and Plan 9 from Outer Space in the PC version. And there was that famous Cinemassacre's Monster Madness where the #1 best giant monster was he'd put the Giant Claw from this terrible movie, The Giant Claw. And I referenced that in Manos by having that as a boss. And when I made the AVGN game, I was like, well, it wouldn't be right to not have a Giant Claw reference in the game about, you know, based on Cinemassacre. So I put it in that as well, but as a dragon. And so then when we did the AVGN 2 Deluxe version, we had Kaiju in the background of the Japan stages. We did King Ghidorah or King Ghidorah, however the hell you say it, as a 3-headed giant claw. So it's become like a tradition in Freak Zone games. So when we were doing this shmup stage on the fire level, it was like Firebird, Giant Claw, and yeah. The auto mod held a message for bullying because you said dungeons and dick holes, huh? How do I allow that in? There we go. Sorry about that. Shig is my favorite biker grandpa. Yeah, the shmup parts seem too easy compared to us. Yes, good call on that. It's that the shmup parts are easy because it's a platform game, right? And when you get a different style of gameplay in a game, you don't want to get stuck on that part because some people might love platform games but not be very good at shoot-em-ups. So I didn't want the shoot-em-ups to be hard because, for one thing, they're different. You didn't pay for a shoot-em-up game, you paid for a platform game, and I don't want you stuck on these sections. Secondly, there's all the dialogue. These are almost like interactive cutscenes where Shig and Sparky just talk about things, and it's not good to keep dying and then have to re-listen to it all again. Steve is off. Thank you, Steve. The game looks great. Please look forward to artwork of Sparky fully French kissing Sonic. Oh, don't let me down, Steve. And what else we got? This was also an AVGN adventure. I think Dungeons & Dragons. Yes, that's right. The Giant Claw. Biker Grandpa, how old do you think Shig is? Well, he's old enough that Sparky refers to him as Pops. He's the old experienced guy. I mean, the canon, or at least in my head, and what I hope was implied in a way, was that Shig used to work just like Sparky did. Or he worked with Sarge. He was on the force, with Sarge, and then he's worked with police and stuff. And he's retired, and he's become the guy that commissions bounty hunters. So he used to be out there on the field, and now he hires Sparky and others. He does that job now, but he used to be as badass as Sparky. I mean, he's still badass now, but he's just old and over it. And he's terrified of Sparky, but they're also becoming best mates over time. Yes, yeah, Joe sent the GIF to me. I know I don't know if I can share it because Twitch might be like, oh, it's Sonic and Mario like animated, and the Sonic is stripping. I think it was Sonic is stripping Mario off, and it's really made me laugh. But I don't think I can share it on here because Twitch rules.
You're damn right. Why, it's almost as big as a battleship.
There we go,
or
battleship
something.
reference. That's the giant
real
claw.
big battleship.
I agree with your weirdly specific comparison. A battleship.
Fry that thing, or grill it. Hell, go ahead and roast it if you want.
Yeah, fair. It was probably a bit too except not safe for work not safe for Twitch rather. A lot of the shmup stages, apart from the dialogue, which took some time to record and edit, the shmup stages were done relatively quickly. But as I say, I didn't want to make them particularly tough because you don't want to get stuck on the section that's a different genre to the game that you paid for. Could you imagine if, at the end in Sonic Mania, at the end of Chemical Plant, you do Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine for a while. You play Puyo Puyo, but it's a relatively easy, really quite easy level of it. Imagine if you paid for a Sonic game and you got stuck playing a friggin' Puyo Puyo Tetris type thing. Kazooie's seen better days. Oh! That'd be good. It'd just start coughing up eggs at me. Yeah, the top-down levels in Contra 3, like, you don't want people to get stuck on the stuff that's not the genre that you paid for, in my opinion. Of course, being this for people that love the Mega Drive, maybe it would have been fine, but I often find shmups are a bit too hard and frustrating to be fun, especially the one-hit-you're-dead ones. But yeah, generally, I didn't want people to die on these stages much. I said this after I died on it, but I was reading the chat, damn it. Feel about the final level of Retro City Rampage. Yes, I felt about it in Bioshock Infinite, where the final boss of that game was a freaking tower defense section, which never happened in the game.
Now get moving. That arson-loving, funny-talking maniac is awake.
I love that. That fun, arson-loving, funny-talking maniac. So it's like funny talking. So you're like, oh, what's he gonna talk like? One hit, you're dead. Hellfire. Was it? Huh. Like, I even find like R-Type really hard, and I'm sure it's one that if I like the genre enough, I'd practice. But I'm quite fond of a shmup section just being in a section being in a platform game. Like, I've done it multiple times. It's in ABGN, it's in Manos, where you just do a shmup section for a while. But those are never super hard. Maybe in ABGN a little bit, but they're never the particularly hard sections because you paid for a platform game. And I don't want you getting stuck in a shmup when you paid for a platform game, if that makes sense. Atomic Rig was the last world that I did. And it was the one where I tried to put the very last world I made to be sort of 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the way into the game, because then you don't notice the part where the developer's getting tired and running out of ideas. So for this I was like, just lots of moving platforms, the floor is lava, it's that stage. This is a cross between, so I've got an idea which is a cross between Sonic CD and Mario 64 here, where when you land in the lava you bounce upwards like that. Now and he's got smoke coming from his butt as well. That comes from Mario 64. But also Sonic CD has a level where the floor is electrified, and if you hit it you get shot upwards higher in the level, and it's all moving platforms and you don't want to land on the floor, and I kind of took a bit from that as well. But yeah, this is the most simple stage, but it turned out to be one of the most fun in the end. It just was fortunate. Ironically, Atomic Rig was, if I remember right, the second track you ever... Yeah, that's right, because I said, oh, want fire level, and I sent you some music from Galaxy Force 2 as a reference, didn't I? And it was still Flappy Shmup, yeah. Yeah, this is one of the best tracks in the game. And they're all good, but this is one of the real, like... I'm collecting the armor without checking how much I've got. I'm just, like, playing in muscle memory now. Oh. Oof. Come on. Oh, just that little bit too early. Oh, people! I wonder if people would do original characters for Sparky. That'd be fun. I love seeing the fan art of stuff, though. What'd be really cool now that the game is actually out, to see if people do fan art of some of the bosses, you know, rather than just the characters that I showed off on like the covers and stuff. I wonder if we'll see any. This guy is called Lava Lad, and he was quite quickly thrown together. But I was like, I want to do a funny face and a bunch of rocks, and I'll put them together and apply some animating code to them and see what happens. And that happened. I think so. One thing I wanted to try and do, but I never did really, because I don't think it needed it. But I wanted to have him like like making noises like that, and then when he would go under the lava, it would go like it would get muffled. But like it would been a lot of work. But this guy's harder than I remember. There's the dynamic difficulty in effect there. You see I got really low in health, but then they dropped way more stars as my health was getting lower. Oh yeah, sorry, I'll look at your message properly in a minute. This guy is kind of kicking my ass. Whoa. I love this boss music as well, this mini boss music. It was always good. In fact, Geist, I actually made some of the bosses last a bit longer just so the music could play out a bit more, because it's that good. This track technically is co-produced by Sam, me, because back then I think he was considering doing multiple act remixes, and he demoed a remix of my work and actually remixed that remix to put it back into the bridges. That's right, yeah. The second sort of verse of this was a remix that I was thinking of doing act remixes, but I felt the levels were too short, so you don't even get to hear the music all the way through if you do a new one every act. But I'd started a remix with my own ideas in there, and then you kind of incorporated that into the second verse of the track, didn't you? It's really cool. I'm waiting for the multiplayer team up in future of Sparky, Louise Lightfoot, and Manly Man in a Streets of Rage style game. You know, when I always had that scrolling message that said "Be right back, no way, no way," I was like, I should commission somebody to do like a big pixel art piece of Sparky, maybe AVGN, maybe Torgo, and the Knight, and Louise Lightfoot, of course, kind of standing around like Sonic, Knuckles, Robotnik, and Tails are when you plug in the wrong cartridge into Sonic and Knuckles, and have that no way scrolling underneath, or when I need to do a BRB and stuff. You'll draw 358,946 pictures of Melon Head. Specifically that many? Will you stop after that many? I posted a 7-minute video on YouTube of me dying over and over to that one. Yeah, sorry about that. It's weird. Some people, as I've said before, some people said it was too easy, some people said it was too hard. I mean, there are difficulty settings, and you can change them from the options menu without restarting the game. So just do the one that suits you, you know. I don't really have an as developers intended with this game like I did with AVGN. You know, on the AVGN I wrote on one of the difficulty settings, this was the one that the developers intended. But with this, tune it to what you want, what's fun for you, man. You know, I just want you to see the characters and enjoy the ride. And, you know, enjoy the story and the dialogue, and it's just this fun, like, cathartic Gunstar Heroes style gameplay. Your challenge level, you should be able to just tune it to whatever makes you feel good. Had them strapped to a chair trying to blow out lit dynamite like the game over in Final Fight, yeah. Oops. Like, you know, they used that in the opening to that YouTube show, Continue, didn't they? And that was very good. These flying guys here were designed and drawn by Luke, because I had this level up together and I was like, I need another enemy type, I need something that flies, and it was very late at night, and Luke was like, let me do one for you, and he did that thing, and I thought it was brilliant. Moon Dave! A bit of pathos here.
Hey, you remind me of this guy I used to know.
That's Carl again.
Me angry. Me get revenge. Man, I can't wait to read your obituary. You know, like obituary, only you're a moon and...
As I faded it out.
Dark side of the moon.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, I think I said, could you I said to Carl, could you try and do Planet Dave crossed with like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch? And that's what he did. I've sold you on the game. Thank you very much. Yeah, I love Sparky as a character.
I was the planet. At least I'd have something warm inside.
So there was lots of just lines made up on the spot. Well, because Moon Dave didn't really have a script. He only had like 2 lines written. And so John, who wrote the script, came up with a bunch of lines on the spot. And a bunch of us did. Just said, oh, try saying this. And also Carl ad-libbed a bunch in the thing as well. And we used some of those. And it's just... It wasn't in the script. The idea was like, oh, he wants revenge because you killed Planet Dave, who was the one that I guess he orbits. But just turning him into just horribly depressed and lonely and empty. That kind of came. See, moon puns.
Planet Dave has no point.
Oh. They should bounce out of the lava, really. I should have done that. But yeah, so the whole thing of Moon Dave being really just depressed and you just feeling really sorry for him, that came, that just came in the recording studio. Alright, okay. Don't want the spread shot here because it will... Uh-oh. Yeah, this was the part where you're like, you can destroy the ground that you're walking on. So we need a weapon that fires straight. Out. Out. So I never had the time to do it because it would have been complicated, but those ants, I wanted a boss where those ants like all like there's like a leader ant and it's like turn hut, and they would all like form together and make like a big walking person and different shapes made of ants, but I did not have the time to do that. And if you consider that I've developed this game on and off for about 4 years, when I say I didn't have the time, that's saying something. Yeah, the tragic tale. Oh no, the tragic tale of Moon Dave. Yeah, so after how much story there was and dialogue in the city stage, I feel like this might have been could have had like a little bit more in there, but then this was the I'm burned out and I have 1 level left to make level. So it's just the fact that you go through 2 levels with not very much dialogue in them in a row. But okay, here we go. I think this is Nightshade now. Ah, love her.
Hey, Nightshade, Nightshade.
Elsie Lovelock was
Did you get my
freaking
fan mail?
amazing.
It was like a letter describing all of your greatest qualities, but nailed to the head of a Parksian.
It's a huge game for a solo dev, though. I know people were involved, but you put a lot of sleepless nights into response. Yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate the acknowledgement.
You have been a colossal pain in my KD ratio.
So the line didn't make it into the game, but these wings that Nightshade has, obviously Nightshade can float because she's got superpowers. Oh, thank you for following. Not always Han. Nightshade here, she's got these wings, but she doesn't need wings because she flies on her own. And so we had a little line where Sparky says, she calls them the wings of twilight despair. They look like wings, but she doesn't even need them because she flies anyway. She only brings these out for the worst of the worst, or he says something like that. But we just couldn't find a good place to fit it in with a dialogue, and especially being that this scene is particularly long. It's one of the longer dialogue scenes in the game, but I think it's great. There's a phone call with Shig, and there we go.
No more fun, no more games, just good old...
Thank you for following, Ma.
Are you kidding me? Bursting bayonets, where are my manners? Excuse me, Nightshade, this won't take a moment. But...
Sparky, come in, you velvet battleground.
Thank you for following, Luke.
God?
What a follows.
Maker Spark Plug. Although you'll be meeting them real soon. If you don't listen up, you're in Major trouble, Spark.
Major Trubs.
Hands down, hoops up, barn.
Hands down, hoops up, barn. I love it.
Well,
John's
they
amazing.
do say you're never alone with a full clip of ammo, but...
Well, thank you for using the follow button, Luke. Cotton-headed ninny muggins. pausing again because I don't want to talk over this amazing voice acting. But Joe ad-libbed that cotton-headed Ninny Muggins. It's from Elf, and I checked with the publisher if they were right with that like a line straight out of it, and yeah, it worked.
Someone else got the scent, and now they're after your credits. Your credits and your head. In that order.
This is terrible. Has anyone worn Nightshade?
Nightshade?
You're right. Your partner's a big fan of Elf.
Have you completely lost your mind?
Fair.
Chill, Shigsy. I appreciate the heads up, but you're talking to two of the deadliest killers in the known universe here. I think we can handle a little friendly competition.
No, wait, Sparky, no!
I tell you, Nightshade.
I cut the no off halfway
worry
through
word.
as well.
Can you believe that? I can't. I really can't.
So, one thing I didn't need to get that. What a waste. But one thing in that scene, sorry, not that scene in particular. In the Nightshade scenes, Sparky seems extra dumb. Like, he's not a particularly dumb character. He's a maniac. He's not particularly dumb, but in the Nightshade scenes, he's extra dumb. And at first I was like, I don't know if that's like just because the writing style was a bit different when we came back to write these scenes later or what. But what I thought about it was like, do you know what? It's more that Sparky is so like starstruck by Nightshade that he kind of loses his cool and loses his mind and becomes an idiot. You know?
Oh man, this is just like that time on Zargan B when you took down the Cleaver crew with nothing but a claw hammer and a novelty
I don't know
egg.
how that happened, but use your imagination.
What? I've never taken down the Cleaver crew. There is no Cleaver crew.
Sure there is. Bunch of guys, big fans of cleavers. You arranged their heads so that when viewed from orbit it spelled... No, wait. Scratch that. Thinking of something else. Definitely not fan fiction. Definitely not, a private project that we, should stop talking about right now.
Finally, we agree on something.
I really love the scenes between Sparky and Nightshade. They weren't in the game originally. We added them later, after we thought we'd finished it. But when we come back to add more content, I was like, I want this rival bounty hunter. Excuse me. I was like, I want this rival bounty hunter. And, you know, I had my idea. I designed her, and I came up with her personality and stuff. But then I got John to write those scenes, and I thought they were absolutely wonderful. And I think they add so much to it. Sparky writes fanfic. He does. He wrote fanfics about Nightshade taking down the Cleaver crew with a novelty egg timer and a claw hammer. Here we go. Jet ski in lava. I think it would have been quite cool if I had added the dash to the jet ski, so you could like do it like a jet ski dash. But again, some of this was done very late at night with the time remaining. You know, you got like Majora's Mask, and it's like 72 hours remain. I don't know why it would be in that voice. But yeah, this section's quite basic, but it's fun. Yeah, there we go. So, I got something I'd love to show you guys, actually. A glitch that happened, which was one of the funniest things that happened during the game. If I can find the video. There was a glitch that happened when I was making the jet ski section. Yeah, you gotta have a Shigmobile. That's what the jet ski was called, at least in the game code. It was called the Shigmobile. Again, if I had more time, I'd have loved to have had like a little scene of Shig or Shig sending like a drone to like airlift that thing in for him or something like that. If I can find this clip, it'll be worth just waiting for me to fart around and find this thing, because it was a glitch that was absolutely hilarious. Hang on. One moment. It's not there. Oh, it's a shame. There's this absolutely hilarious glitch that I decided to record. Oh, I found it. Okay, this is... Okay, how do I add it to this then? Just a second. Oh, we need sound. Wait, we need sound. Hang on, let me sort this out. Oh, there was sound and I couldn't hear it. Sorry, guys. Right, I'm going to turn this down. Sorry about that. Let's try again. I'm really sorry. I couldn't hear anything. Just, that was the glitch. But yeah, that was the glitch that happened to me, and I thought it was amazing, so I should record it. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird because I couldn't hear the sound, so I didn't realize how loud it was.
Well, if it isn't... Wait,
this is me playing Space Badger.
Down somewhere.
Space Badger, Governor, the one, the only, the inimitable. And you'd be the mug stupid enough to try and take me down,
I think I'm
correct?
a bit quiet, maybe.
Wait, your name is Space Badger? I thought that was your species.
So, Space Badger was written. Sometimes you write something with an actor in mind, right? And people that you know and can hire or whatever. Obviously, in the movies, they actually write stuff for, and you hear things like, "Oh, this was written for this actor, but this one got it." And there were people that I knew that could do voices and stuff, and I wrote some things with people in mind. Now, this guy, John wrote it, obviously, but I designed the character and his voice to be played by Cadicarus. Because he was a friend of mine. We didn't fall out or anything like that. He's just too busy and doesn't tend to respond to much these days. But we used to meet up for a drink occasionally, him and Karis and stuff. And he was going to do his pure voice that he does for Space Badger. But it was really unfortunate that his recording setup couldn't quite get a good quality for the game. And he also had to do it quite quietly to not wake the kids up all the time and everything. And he couldn't quite get it quite right. I felt really bad not including him because of that, but he understood and everything. And one day we were at the recording studio, and I was like, "Do you want me to try for Space Badger just so we got it?" And the guys in the studio all said they really liked my take, and John said I read the lines the way he imagined them. So I was like, "Oh, well, let's just use it." Yeah, he's still in the credits, and special thanks, obviously, yeah.
Well, pyrobadger.com was taken, wasn't it? You got to keep your brand consistent these days, what with everything going on and all the copyright. Wait, what's wrong with my handle, you plank?
I'm proud of that line because I ad-libbed that whole rant there about pyrobadger.com was taken. You got to keep your brand consistent with these days, with all the copyright and everything. That was just ad-libbed.
Are you going to talk about the T-Rex?
Jog on, Squire. Well, you and me are going to have a disagreement. You think you're the first bounty hunter to try and make a bit of dough off my loaf?
Wait, are we talking about food?
Let's have it!
So it was decided later, after all the lines were recorded and done, that Space Badger would actually be on... Because we were like, oh, he'd be in a machine of some sort or whatever. But when I decided he would be in a robot T-Rex, drawn by Luke, who's in the chat, thank you for drawing those sprites, it was freaking amazing. When we decided he would be on a robot, motor T-Rex thing, we'd already had all the lines and all the dialogue recorded already. So I was like, can we just have Sparky just interject at one point and say, we're going to talk about the T-Rex? I think it works. I think maybe this and Sarge are my two favourite bosses in terms of how they look and how they animate and stuff.
Why don't you marry Pop-Off, son, before this gets ugly?
Like you mean? Who am I kidding? I can't lie to you, sweet cheeks. You're perfect, Badgie. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
You're a laugh riot, my son. Here, have a butcher's of this. It'll really tickle your fancy.
doing badly. Well, I'm proud of the dinosaur too. I think it was awesome, Luke, and I'm pleased with how I animated it. I'm really pleased with how you drew all the parts and stuff. So Luke sent me this with Luke sent me the file for this, the sprites of this T-Rex, with the and the file name was in all capitals Yoshi.png.
Why don't you marry
Badger is one of the harder bosses.
like you're
Yes, thank you, Joe, for noticing. Yeah, it's basically having to use some of your own weapons, having to fight against some of your own weapons, rather. This is probably the only boss in the game, apart from the final boss, that I do tend to die on a lot. Get the stars, get the stars. Oh no. Oh yeah, okay. Sadly that happened off screen, but the T-Rex head explodes. And now it runs around like a headless chicken. Or a headless T-Rex.
Oh, that was a smack in the boat race and no mistake.
I finished my proper job, and I'm on to Pepsi Max. I watch a lot of Joel Skeletor, so it feels right to have Beerpiss on the stream. Space Badger 4 forearms and the final Nightshade the toughest. Yeah, I think so. Excuse me. Sparky's about to become a pyromaniac, and he gets distracted by money and goes back on the straight and narrow.
The king of
in a way.
doozies, perhaps. This is the highest prize that has ever been put on someone's head.
Screw fire, I like money.
Attaboy. Your final target is Dr. Watson, genius scientist gone rogue. Built himself a super laboratory in the Black Heart Nebula with nothing but some highly illegal tech and a whole bunch of crazy for company. This comes from on high, Sparky. We're talking no questions asked and more money than I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
I hears you. Well, we're talking full retirement, drink in hand, escape to the countryside money here. And all you have to do is brave a seething hellscape of madness that once plunged the galaxy into open warfare of death and destruction.
Oh, thank you so much for being here, Maya. It was really, really nice to have you.
Let's do this. Shake, moment,
Make us both
Oh yeah, I'd love to
Sparky.
see you finish the game and see what you think of the ending. Thanks so much for coming, mate. Ah, the Black Heart Nebula. It was nice to be able to actually make this as a shmup stage because John had alluded to it in the script. The idea of like a creepy nebula.
Really feels funky.
I'd love to add a bit more time to make it more weird and creepy, but I think it's decent.
About this Watson guy. Whispers that don't make much sense at all. But
Quit holding out on me, shake-a-leg.
don't call me that. Anyways, rumor has it he's got his hands on some powerful stuff. Stuff beyond understanding. Mystic stuff, the likes of which you and I ain't never seen. Word is he got real creative with it. All weird like.
Oh, yeah?
Like all kinds of abominations come from here. At least, according to what they say.
Well, I wish they would be less vague about it.
Hey, John.
I wanna know the
Welcome back.
gory details.
The brain bug's a reference to anything? No, it was just something I designed. I wanted it to look like something weird that escaped from the lab.
God, I hope there's some freaky, unethical junk in there, like a bug that eats its own head.
Yeah, guys said he really liked your song.
I just want to see something cool.
Oh, look at this thing. So Luke drew this as well. This is
That is a big
I wanted it to be kind of like V'ger from Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
This right here is a big
Well, this whole thing of the Black Heart Nebula is very V'ger. You know, gas cloud. Yeah, Geist was here and he said he really liked your song. Yeah, Luke blew me away with this sprite. This was exactly the kind of thing that I was imagining when I asked him to help with it. It was the Space Hopper song. So it was the you made a piece that was for something or other, and I split it into two songs because it had like two halves, and I used the second half for the Space Hopper stage, and that was the one that he really liked. Oh, he's here. Geist is still here. Sorry, I forgot. Ah, yeah, Unicron from Transformers.
Defense system 0.
Time to bring out the big guns, kid. Go get him.
Yes, sir.
See you on the other side, Spark.
Yeah, it was pretty close. Here we go. Big final world. These are, we've got some kind of a Sonic CD references. They're those like containers, whatever they are in the background. They're loosely, they're inspired by some of the, man, hang on, do you know what? Start over. They are some stuff that was in the background of Metallic Madness and Sonic CD. But I had to change the colours around so it wasn't too much like exactly like it. We're about to find out all about where Sparky came from. Whoa, oh man. Do you know what? My microphone pop filter was just obscuring that bottomless pit there. I fell straight into it. Barbaric, huh, John? I was saying earlier, John, how I met you had the game running on your Switch, and I mentioned to you, oh yeah, so you're going to hear your music on Nintendo. And you're like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that! I do really like this level. Ultimately, it's actually quite simplistic in its design, but I do like it. It's kind of big final test, you know. These guys are... It's a whole bunch of Sonic levels kind of combined together. I mean, it's a very flat and side-scrolly in the actual in its actual layout, but all of the hazards here, it's Scrap Brain Zone and a bit of Metallic Madness and a bit of Death Egg. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Yeah, love letters to many games without feeling copied. Well, so there's so many indie games out there just like they just make Mega Man, or they just make another game series that's like not getting entries so much anymore, and they kind of stand in for, you know, old franchises. Whereas you look at, say, Shovel Knight, and Shovel Knight was like, it was DuckTales, it was Mega Man, it was Castlevania. It was like the console of the NES as like one big tribute. And although the core gameplay of this is Gunstar Heroes and Alien Soldier, I just wanted to do that for the Mega Drive. I often say Sparky is to the Sega Mega Drive what Shovel Knight was to the NES, because it's got a lot of Mega Drive in here. Because Mega Drive was amazing, and it doesn't get enough inspired indie games like the Super Nintendo and the NES get tons of them. You almost cried hearing your song on Nintendo. That's awesome, man. I'm honored that I got to be the reason. Oh, I missed that. This guy, Albino Flurf. They are cuter when they're docile, and they are scarier when they're angry. The Moratorium is probably a personal favourite from all tracks. Remember eschewing Genesis influence in favour of Mega Drive influence in favour of some old niche techno music from early PS2 GameCube era, and the live guitar was super late edition that made all the difference for me. Yeah, the guitar in there is really cool. It's just brilliant music, because we were just saying it's really cool, and we wanted to use it as the final instead of the Alien stage that it was going to be for. And then you made it a bit more computery sounding, more laboratory. Yeah. I was like, that's never going to come back on, and then it did. Okay, so this is a lot of inspiration from what was it? Contra Hardcore, but splicing enemies. I love doing this. Luke drew the machine, and this is the introduction of Takahata 101, Kurt Arnott from Team 4 Star playing the main villain. and he's so good. Like I think I could potentially say he even like upstaged Sean Barrett. He was so good, and he had this character. He said, "I have this voice that I do, which is this mad scientist," and he kind of did it for me. And I was like, "Well, I do have a mad scientist character because I wanted him to have a voice in the game. Like I wasn't like Takahata will be the main villain. I was like I want him to have a voice in the game, but he showed me this mad scientist character he had, and I was like, well, Dr. Votsit is a mad scientist, and he's got this kind of attitude. And I was like, can we do that? And he did, and he had so many ad libs and things, and oh my god, like. I directed him, so we were on a call and I directed him while he was recording it. And like when I got the file that he recorded on his end, like I was laughing so hard that you can actually just about hear me from his headphones into his mic laughing because he was so funny. And yeah, what's the voice? Is there a voice sample saying "help me"? Is there a voice sample? No. Anyway. I give you Takahata as Dr. Votsit.
Of all the bounty hunters they could have sent to kill me, they gave you right back to me.
I think you're confusing me with a different yellow, long-eared, intergalactic maniac of unknown origin. Me no know you.
You are my greatest creation, my masterpiece. But you got away, and you're finally back.
I ain't buying it, Doc. I never forget a nut job, and you, sir, are 2 elements short of a periodic table, if you get my meaning. How about we skip straight to your last words, and that sweet bounty?
Leporum Stella!
Those are the worst last words I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of them.
Leporum Stella, the world's first life form created entirely from stardust. And also a rabbit. What? Don't judge me, I had a vision! Now give yourself up so that I could experiment on you. So that I could treat you to tasty morsels. Yes, that's a good cover-up.
Alright, so that's the Flurf mixed with the I called it a burble, the other one. So there are I think it's about 5. Yeah, there's 5 of these, and you have to fight one at least once of the spliced ones, but it does do it in random order, and it picks the enemies that it's going to create and stuff, so it makes it feel like it could be any enemies from the game, but I think there's 5 possibilities. I had the idea later on to like give the actual Splice-O-Matic, the machine, a voice, and as you'll see, emotions. And there's the. I think it was Anthony who helped me create the mashed up enemies while I was busy. Because I did, a lot of the enemy sprites I did, but then, and Luke did a bunch of them, and Anthony did some, but. Anthony took all these sprites and like merged them into these these mashups. Oh, that was you. Sorry, Luke. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it wasn't Anthony. It was you. Sorry. Yeah, credit where it's should be there. Yeah, you did that and the splice machine. You're right. Yes, because I remember you sending the file names and they were like, oh, that one guy. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Luke. That was you.
Ah, my boy, how you've grown. It seems only yesterday that you were a vicious stew of sails on the end of my pipette.
Okay.
Yes, you fought to convince me to make the boss, that's true.
Me? What are you talking about, you crazy scrollop? Nobody knows where I came from. I'm your quintessential mystery baby.
Dissolving beakers, eating my lab assistants, especially Reggie.
This was all ad-libbed.
Have a relationship with your girlfriend, Reggie. Just break up with her. Just break up with her, Reggie.
Eyes on the future, Doc. Trust me, it's shorter.
Splice-O-Matic was text-to-speech from some website I found. I wanted it to sound like those ancient text-to-speech things. But yeah, actually, I think I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have time to do this. And you're like, no, it's such a cool idea. You should do it. And then you're like, I'll help. Let me draw sprites. And you did, yes. Sorry for getting that confused there. It's been a long time. Ow. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Forget that one comes in. So there are enemies from all throughout the game in this level, as well as some robots. And the implication is that a lot of the...
It wasn't all slathering doom beasts and sentient microbes. Oh, no. There were setbacks, limitations. The mind was willing, but the material, the canvas I had to work with, well, it was sorely lacking.
Whatever, you cosmic gas bag.
Some of those were like patched together for stuff that was going to be in a different part. If you had a lot of dialogue for, similar to the Sean Barrett character, but blown apart, we had a lot of dialogue for Votsit, and nowhere to put it because it would have just made the boss fight a bit too wordy. And I had the idea to have him talk over the Tannoy. Thank you for following, Wolvie, 2021. But I had the idea to have him just talk over like a Tannoy system and tell you the story, instead of just like it going on forever when you're actually fighting a boss. Also, I should read out what Geist said. Geist, in response to Yoshiman was saying about what is the voice sample, and Geist says it's actually just random throaty raspy noises I did and ran through the ringer via resynthesis in Harmor. Oh yeah, Fruity Harmor. Okay, seeing if I could turn noise into an instrument, basically. So while it's not verbalizing that quote specifically, I guess you could say it is in spirit. Yeah. Yeah, when none of this dialogue was in game. Yeah, there was a point where a lot of it was cut out, and then I had the idea to add it back after the fights, as like Tannoy stuff later. And I had a bunch of quotes of Sparky just basically saying, "No, I'm not interested," and to shut up. And I was like, I can add that as him replying. This is probably the hardest bit in the game. Not these two guys, but just this whole screen right here. But yeah, so I was going to say before, like there are enemies from all throughout the game in this level, as well as the spliced ones. And the intent is to imply that much of the weird stuff around the universe, including Sparky, potentially Nightshade, Shig himself even maybe, are all like just things that just came from Dr. Votz's lab when he was just experimenting, trying to create the ultimate life form. Because Votz got his hands on something mysterious, which is never revealed what it was in the game. Originally, it was written in the script as something called the Biocore, but I felt it better to be more mysterious. But it's kind of an infinity stone, like in Marvel. And he just instead we left just this dialogue, him trying to explain what it is and never quite getting to the point. We did have one bit where Sparky's like, "I'm not interested." He's like, "But I didn't get to tell you about the Biocore." But I just felt like it's better not in there. If we ever do any sequel or prequel, we'll expand on it. But I like the mystery of it. And then, he says they arrived. And it's like, who are they? Well, some kind of beings that, want to play around with life and the cosmos and want this guy to try it out and stuff. And yeah.
A man can sequence before he can
hear my throat getting raw from talking for a long
such
time.
Noble plans for the universe, such improvements to be made. But it wasn't easy. No, it wasn't easy at all. Until they arrived.
Jeez Louise! Can it, will ya, you creepy scrallop?
But I have so much to tell you. The dark secrets, my grand schemes, the countless lives caught in my web. How else will you fill that gnawing void in your soul? The pit of unknowing that haunts your every waking moment.
Nah, I'm good.
There's a bit where because originally he said, how should we fill that void in your soul? And he says, with bounties. But I like just that. Now I'm good, better. Returning bosses, don't have a problem with that. I lower their health slightly so it's less of a undertaking and stuff. I think the trope is called a demoted boss. I like the trope. Maybe it's cheap, but it makes me think of old Sega games, you know, and that's a good thing. It's always about creating the ultimate life mode.
They were so charming, open to so many new ideas. They recognized potential when they saw it, and their gift, their beautiful, sparkling, whispering gift. When it changed everything.
So well read, that line.
Are the worst.
After you escaped, I tried again and again to recreate you. The hours I wasted desperately trying to extract DNA from your saliva. And don't ask where I got it.
I really wasn't.
I said don't ask! Your essence, that sociopathic murderous
Spark. Yeah?
was impossible to replicate. It's like in that movie, you know, where the woman's like, oh, is that my clone? And the clone is like, oh no, living is painful, please kill me. It was so stupid. I mean, what was up with that movie? Being married with an alien does not make a person good at basketball. Why are we talking about this? Clowns already, clowns! Clowns, get out of here!
So I wrote that little part towards the end where he starts going on about some movie. It's like that movie where this and this and this, and no. And then he says, why are we talking about this? Even though Sparky's not even replied, he's just rambling. But he's actually referring to Alien Resurrection. Yeah. Oh, good find, Joe. I just saw your comment there. Yes, he's referring to Alien Resurrection. It's, yeah, I threw that in there, and I thought he read the line so well as well. The clones could have been more interesting and random and stuff, but I was like, actually, you know what? I think it's kind of cool, just loads of completely chaotic enemies that you have to deal with. Each clone has its own slightly different behavior. There's one that loves to be at the top, and there's one that just runs back and forward quickly. There's one that runs back and forward really slowly, and that's Sebastian just going. Yeah, because in Alien Resurrections, it's got all these failed Ripley clones, and she sees them, and the one goes, "Kill me," and so she burns it. And there's also a point in that movie, because she's part alien now, she just throws a basketball into a hoop in one shot when she's not even facing it, which apparently Sigourney Weaver actually did for real. And you can see Ron Perlman in the shot just look kind of impressed, but I just thought that would be funny to have him bitch about the movie. I don't mind Alien Resurrection, actually. I don't hate it like everybody else seems to, but I just thought it would be really funny to have him make the references to that because we had the clones, and have him just kind of go off on one. And if you don't get the movie reference, it just sounds like he's talking crap. Yes, that's right. She's an imperfect clone because she died in the lava, but then when they tried to clone her, she's had the alien in her. I don't know.
Ah, young man, you've made me...
All right, at the end of this bit of dialogue here, I'm pausing again, sorry, because at the end of this bit of dialogue here, there's a bit that Takahata just ad-libbed, and he's just like, he like moved around the room and did this, so he was further away from the microphone and stuff, and so for the sound, he actually dropped something to make like a clanging sound and stuff, and I absolutely lost it laughing so much him doing it. I was like, I have to like animate it into the game somehow. So the way this little bit of dialogue ends was entire ad-libbed, and I just put it in the game.
So proud.
Oh, everything's better than Covenant.
Furious. I'm feeling so many complex emotions right now.
Aw, Daddy, don't feel bad. Come on down, why don't you? Let's hug it out.
I'm crazy, my boy, not stupid in life. And while I love you dearly, I also love my organs and bones and beautiful baby smooth skin that just keeps them all together. No hugs, only the big guns.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, God, who left that there? That's my ankle.
That he just ad-libbed that whole bit, and I was like, I need to animate that in the game. And he was going, I understand if you don't use any of this. I was just having fun. I really have to use it. Okay, it used to go straight to the final boss from here, when it was 3 acts per world. But I was like, when I wanted to do Nightshade, and I needed a bit of level, and I was like, I have an idea. I was like, Act 2 of this was like the hardest part of the game, and we need like some kind of catharsis before the big finale, some kind of like way to like just let loose. And I thought of Gears of War 2, where in the end of that game you actually ride a Brumac, which is one of the big giant like T-Rex locusts, and it's really cathartic because it's not particularly challenging. You just kind of rain hell on the enemies up until the final boss, and it's just really cool. And I was like, maybe, being that we imply that so many of the characters in the games like came from here, from the lab. Well, maybe the robot T-Rexes came from the lab too, and there's one here, and you can ride it. And yeah, here we go. Remix of the first, remix of the first level theme in the background here is by Paul Beathers, who did Spark the Electric Jester. Yes, Gears of War 1 to 3 are brilliant. I love Gears of War 4 and 5 as well. I think that's a brilliant series. I think Gears of War 2 is probably the best of the original trilogy, but I love 4 and 5 as well. 5 has got the highest highs and the lowest lows in the series, so it's got some of the best moments, but also some of the worst. But I really like that they made Kate into a good character, which she wasn't that good in 4, and her story got really good, and Marcus and his son, whose name just escapes me for some reason, JB, something like that, maybe. So in this section you can actually just, I believe if you just walk forward and don't shoot anything, I believe you just survive it, because the T-Rex is that overpowered. But I like burning all the enemies. If somebody streaming would say, what's the poop bombs button? Ah, screw it. Because of Space Badger, it was like, can you poop bombs out the back? And I was like, I thought about that, but it is, I didn't want to know the tutorial and things. Oh, cool. So you, Geist, heard this remix, and when he added a second verse to the original theme, he used some ideas from that. That's very cool. Can you jump over the T-Rex? No, the camera won't scroll forward until you get on it. Here we go.
Ooh, Nightshade, look at this place. Doesn't this just scream Final Showdown?
We're finally on the same page, Fuzzball. I'd like to say this has been a pleasure, but, well, at least this will be. Any last words?
Wait. Aren't you forgetting something?
Forgetting? Wait, what? What are you talking about? I'm not forgetting anything.
Your intro, silly. What's violence without that classic Nightshade flair?
No fanfare, no intros.
Oh, okay. Whimper. Let's do this.
Wait, did you say whimper? You didn't actually whimper. You just said the word out loud, like an idiot?
No. Puppy eyes. Sob. Cry.
Timing the text to the voice acting was one of the hardest parts.
The dark side of reason, a flash of black light, the queen of dark feelings, they call me the night. There, satisfied?
So satisfied. I've got to tell you, Nightshade, these brief moments together have meant so much to me on a professional level. Pretty much anyone I've ever looked up to ended up in pieces.
Thank you, Wolfie.
Emotionally and literally. It's just so nice to have a role model who
Just so
lives
you
up
know,
to
we're
the
about to
hype
spoil
he
like the
wants.
final boss
Roll
and
with
ending
the
and
good
stuff.
feelings, Pipsqueak.
That's all good. It's,
This'll
you know, it's about
only
how fun
hurt
it is to
for a
play, you know.
moment.
So, I couldn't think of a fourth weapon to add to Nightshade. So I just thought, take the 3 that she got so far and make her just angrier, just faster and stronger. And she's just really sick of Sparky at this point, you know. Ugh.
Impossible. All that training, all that killing, and I lose to you?
Lose? Nightshade, what are you talking about? The way I see it, when two great minds come together, everybody's a winner.
You can't be that stupid.
See? Compliments. And they say professionalism is a dying art.
A dying art. In which case, this is my masterpiece. See you around, Sparkplug. Till next time.
Man, I totally zoned out throughout that, so just listening to the dialogue. I think that was really well written by John and well performed by Elsie. And yeah, it's like there's that little parting moment for Nightshade. I feel like I added all the scenes in and all the dialogue and everything, and I played it back, and and my first like full playthrough after adding those boss fights in, I was like, I feel like they had a real little journey together. It feels really good, and I legit care about Nightshade and stuff. What do I want? I want these two. And yeah, I'd love her to, if there's a sequel, I'd love her to come back. I wrote that line, don't come in, I'm changing. I thought that was good.
That's awesome. Now that you... Ow! 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 Ow!
Are you done yet?
Particles.
No, I wasn't even sure that would
Yes.
work. Seriously, I do all
That was
the
my
good
line
things
as well, that I wrote,
so
the
I
totally
know
ripped thing.
impossible when I see it. Now look at me. The perfect test subject. I am ripped.
You look exactly the same.
I knew. I was always shredded.
That was my bit, and then John added this.
Doc, do you lift?
Oh yeah, high reps, low reps.
And that, high reps, low, high, he said, what the line in the script was, not bad, Doc, do you lift? And he said, like you wouldn't believe, and that's not all I can do. But Takahata just improvised, oh yeah, high rates, no, high weight, oh yeah, high reps, low weights, perfect workout. And I loved it.
Workout. And that's not all I can do.
Sorry, he does such a good job of that, those lines. This is the, Super Saiyan scientist, but this is just the little, the little intro fight. I might die on the final boss a few times because it's pretty tough. Oh no, I've got one sliver of health. Another fun trivia music switcheroo. The track for phase 1 of this boss was originally intended for phase 2. Yeah, actually phase 3 even, because this was going to be a normal boss theme. Then the phase 2 one, and then it was going to be that music for phase 3, because he was going to turn into like a... just pausing there. He was going to turn into like a star child, like out of 2001 Space Odyssey or something, and like become beyond evolution. But I just felt like I didn't want, I love this form, and I there's not much I could have done with the big extra final one like that, and I really like this one. So I used some of the dialogue that was written for that form, etc., and, I think it worked. Oh, I'm very proud of this sprite. This is all me. I drew all this.
The ultimate life form! I have finally created it, and it's me!
So I had the, it was going to be like, you're going to have a neck and arms and stuff. So he was like just a giant skinless man with like parts missing. And then I just had, when I was trying to animate it, and I was like, I don't know, I'm trying to draw the part. And I was like, it would be really cool if he was just like a floating head and hands, kind of like Andros. Yeah, a little bit Attack on Titan. He's based on an image in an old kids' science book. It was a photo of like a model. It was Dorleen Kindersley's The Human Body, and when I was about maybe 7 years old, I saw the picture and it frightened the life out of me, and I was scared to even go near the school library after that. So we'd have a day where we had to go in the library, and I'd sit there scared in case somebody opened the book on that page. And then when eventually the teacher had to bring that book out because she was teaching us that, I was just scared to see the page. And sometimes people would just come to show me this face, because it was half skull, half muscle, and with this eye. I'd put it up on the screen, but I think it would take me too long to find it. But it used to really freak me out as a kid. And when I found the book again in college, I opened it up and went to the page, and I showed my friend Candice, who helped beta test this. And she was like, what the hell? I was like, we don't show that to kids, right? That's sadistic. And then we started calling it the sadistic face. I had the idea to use the sadistic face as a boss in a game one day. And then when I was working on Dr. Votsit and I needed his final form, and I was like, what better game to finally use the sadistic face than the one that's inspired by Mega Drive games, which had all these like gory bosses and stuff. So I'm really pleased with it. I think it's the nightmare fuel. Anyway, also this dialogue here as well.
Going bald, I can handle, but this? Tell me this isn't genetic.
Power! Unlimited power! Within reason.
I've got to have the asterisk in there. In Geist's release of the soundtrack, the first phase of this fight, the song is called Unlimited Power, asterisk. And then the second phase song is called Asterisk Within Reason. I need to get some health refills. I got 1 unit of health. 1. Thank you. My arm is gone as well. So I had like things coming out of his eyes and just all these attacks. And the idea that he spawns enemies from his hands because they were all his creations anyway. But then I was like, what else? I was like, homing rockets from his nose. I was like, I wanted to shoot homing rockets because homing rockets, they home in on you, but also they're just a really good way of like getting. Oh shit! I used up my flamethrower. I overheated it even. But yeah, the idea of like homing rockets, they're great because they home in on you, but also they can be a good way to refill your health because they drop stars and stuff. So I was like, he needs to have homing missiles. I was like, where from? I was like, nostrils. His nostrils aren't firing anything. His eyes are firing. His hands are. His mouth is just laughing away. But I was like, nostrils. Get that flirt.
What is flesh? What is life? This weight of being, these endless possibilities.
Oh, for the love of... Will you put a sock in it, you overblown sack of chowder? All I wanted was my bounty, you hear? All I wanted was some good old-fashioned guts and murder. Is that too much to ask?
Oh, my child, fear not. Be as one in my love.
Yeah, Takahata, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen and friends beyond the binary. So yeah, the idea, I wanted his eyes to follow you, like he's looking at you, which I think worked well. But I also wanted them to like shake, like just like jittery eyes, because he's completely lost his mind. This is, I mean, his body has been, from this power that he's used from this biocore, his body has been completely blown apart, but in a style of Sergeant Blown Apart, I suppose. He's been completely, obliterated, but like what's left is he's still able to control. He's got also that Dr. Manhattan style, like just controlling his own molecules, but his body couldn't contain it. And so it just completely burst apart. And the bits that he needs, his hands and his head are still working, but I just wanted this like insane, so his mouth is just like kind of laughing away, and his eyes are following you, but they can't focus, they're just like jittering around. His body couldn't contain the power, And Geister said Phase 2's track is my love for Dodonpachi's music shining through, inspired by the hardcore Gabba music in Bones boss battles, which makes it kind of apt that I eventually got to make some shmup music for this game. Yeah. And I sent you the Omega Flowey music from Undertale as a reference as well. There's one of them, and I like a lot of rave music and that kind of Gabba thing. So I thought it was perfect. Yeah, Mr. Science. Yeah, I'll show you guys Mr. Science after this, but it's just this whole long running thing of the whole idea of these science busts. These biology images they draw, which are like half skull on one side and half muscle on the other, and those busts are used for science, for science, for biology, as references and stuff like that. And they often use that image on like a front of a human body book. There was that Japanese thing called Mr. Science, which I found I'll tell you guys about, but it's the idea is almost because he looks like one of those busts, it's like he's become science. The scientist has become science. And yes, the amen break, absolutely. That's a lot of stars. There we go.
I am new life. This universe and my chrysalis. For my reward, they promised a promise.
There we go, finished.
You did it, kid. Now I know why they call you spectacular. Look at all this money. I don't think I've ever been this happy.
Who promised? Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Space whale.
It's a dream come true, Shigsy. Maybe I'll turn over a new leaf for a while. I mean, bounties always taste best on an empty wallet.
And best of all, not a single loose end. Say, Sparky,
Many
you ever
loose
think
ends.
there was maybe a bigger picture here that we missed? I mean, ain't it a bit strange how this whole escapade kind of revolved around your good self?
Nah, when are you gonna learn, Shake Shake? Everything revolves around me. I'm just that likable.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And hey, you learned a little bit about yourself. That's gotta count for something.
Look at me! I'm growing as a
Also,
character.
notice that despite how Shig looks, he is a wine drinker.
When you think about
These
it,
beautiful
you
sprites were
reckon
by
I came from that crazed scientist
by
lab as
Chris
well?
Jerky Bass.
I mean, there ain't many shark pigs in the universe. Kinda makes you wonder.
Mysteries are overrated, Shigsy. You
Yeah.
don't need an origin story to tell you who you are or who to kill. You're one of a kind, buddy.
Ha! You and me both, Spark. You and me both.
Yeah, you think that Shig would be a beer drinker, but he's got himself a nice glass of wine. Credits. Sebastian Todd as Sparky, he was amazing. Found him just searching through YouTube for demo reels, and he was doing a voice that sounded like what I wanted. There's Joe, who is in chat right now, who's amazing. Elsie Lovelock as Nightshade was awesome. Kurt as Dr. Votsit, obviously. Tom Campbell as DJ Cosmosis, good friend of mine. I've done podcasts with him. He does, Cultaholic. Sam Beddoes, he's a dick. Carl Howe, obviously, he was in the chat earlier. Shella was in the chat earlier. She was amazing. Carl was awesome. Miko was great. Training actor Dave Ballmer from Sonic the Comic, the podcast, and other things. Joe again. Sean Barrett. Oh my god, I told you about him. And I almost had Aaron quote Ego Raptor unquote handsome. I was like, actually, nah, don't need that. Oh, this ending music by Geist as well. I wanted the Sonic thing where he goes through the zones, the music, but he's actually remixed the zones to sound. There's John, Elizabeth, and me with the story and script. So you kind of remix them to sound really chill and cool. So we got music and additional music, probably because Geist made like the soundtrack as a whole, and Paul Beathers and John, submitted a couple of tracks. So I felt that it was only fair to like have them as like written as like, additional music. Great collection of voice art writing, music writing, awesome. Thanks for putting all this together, Sam. Thank you for being part of it, Joe. I'm so glad I got to do it. These are all the guys at Nicholas who this game would not have been possible without. They, supplied the budget and a lot of support. They're amazing. Thank you, John. And Luke, you were amazing. You guys couldn't have done any of this without you guys there on the chats at those late nights, Special thanks to lots of people that just showed support throughout. There's MS Gamer who was here earlier. Oh, I love that little bit at the end of the music. First time I saw the credits after I'd finished the game, I got emotional, man, with the music and everything, and it's like it's finally done.
Spectacular.
Thank you, guys. So I'll show you what else we got here. So I'm not going to do it. We got, obviously the time attack. There's also frenzy mode, which thank you, guys. I loved making it. So frenzy mode, watch it. Your health counts down, but you have unlimited stamina, and your weapons don't overheat. There's no dialogue, anything like that. It's just get through before you keep collecting the stars to refill your health and get through. But you don't need to really kill the enemies. You can just get through. It's like a speedrun mode. It's complete insanity. But then you get these sections where it stops you. You just have to keep collecting the stars. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way of going through the game a second time. It won't take you through the story, obviously, because the dialogue's not there. But it's a fun second playthrough. I'd love to add more modes if if I get the time and if Nicholas allows me to. But yeah, spectacular Sparky, everyone. Oh man, I still love going back and playing it. Yeah. So any more questions before I go? Let's have a look. I'm gonna put this menu music back in, and I'm gonna monitor that chat. Wow. Yeah. So we did it. It's on and off. So there's periods of time where there was no work being done on Sparky or very little. And I was doing other games and stuff, so it wasn't 4 years straight. It was on and off 4 years, but it was a 4 years. Man, Nightshade DLC, could you imagine? Got a question. Do you know what you want to work on next? Yeah, I'm working with Screenwave on a lot of things because at the moment I'm lead developer at Screenwave Media Games as well, so I help out with other developers' games as well as on my own. I can't really spill what they're planning, but they got some really good stuff that they want me to do. As for original stuff that I do in spare time, I'd love to remake the Freddy the Frog game that I mentioned before. I'd love to do something with that. I'm also learning a bunch of 3D. I've been learning a little bit of 3D modeling and just, I can work in 3D. I've done 3D stuff before and prototypes and everything. The actual, just having the Z-axis and stuff. But the actual 3D, creating the graphics and the camera lodging stuff, that's new. When will Sparky and Freddy meet? They do every night in my dreams. I have no idea. That would be a fun thing to do, though, wouldn't it? I guess it depends because the thing is I can't really have a Freak Zone Games universe, right? I remember back in the day when I used to put up those games in 1999, I envisioned having a Super Smash Bros of all my characters and a kart racer of all my characters and stuff like that back then. But you know, obviously nowadays I go between different publishers for different things. I'm pretty dedicated to Screenwave now because they're employing me effectively. Well, it's just freelance, but it's, you know, it's a monthly thing and that, and they've been amazing. But you know, I help out with Nicholas at times as well and things. But point is, because a lot of my games are with different publishers, I can't, you know, I can't exactly have the Freak Zone Games universe. But who knows? Yeah, I'd love to see these guys appear. You get things like indie kart races where they have different characters, or you get cameos in different games. I'd love to see stuff like that. When I first finished Sparky, or first thought I'd finished it, when we had the shorter version of the game without Nightshade and everything, I remember thinking, oh, I don't want to go back to it again, I'm so tired. But now I keep thinking I would love to do another Sparky if it does well. I feel like you work well with publishers because you give as much as they give. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's an interesting when you see a lot of people complain about publishers and studios and stuff like that. But I mean, usually if you really don't agree with something they suggest, you can fight your corner and they'll listen. But also you got to listen too. I know there's a lot of things like the difficulty was going to be a lot higher than it actually was in the game. But they said, look, we want more people to be able to play it. It's and it's about, you know, it's got a good story and it's got good dialogue, and we don't want people just be giving up because it's too hard. And I was like, fair enough, and it probably did improve the game. Yeah. Well, this was fun. I don't know how long we did this for. Oh, 3 hours 40. Wow. Well, I'm going to get this to, you know, go on video on demand and upload it onto YouTube and everything like that. I was going to say about this Mr. Science thing. It's basically looking at, there's a science. It's a Japanese educational series called Jump Out Little Mr. Science or something to that effect, and it's it had a DS game, and it just had a mascot that looked like that final Dr. Votsit thing. It was nuts. I'm sorry for destroying all your ears with that video of the glitch in between. I couldn't hear it, and I didn't realize the volume was maxed out like that. And it's just, maybe I can edit it before it goes on YouTube. I'm not sure if that's possible or not. But thanks for being here, everybody. This was awesome, and I am very tired. I'm a dad now as well, so this game came out, and my son came out of my wife, and he's about 6 weeks now, and it's been a crazy time, and I'm very tired, but very humbled and satisfied, and just happy to see people playing it. This game was mostly finished quite a while ago, and I've mostly been working with Screenwave because they've been amazing. But yeah, as I go back with Nicholas and fix things up and got it ready for release and stuff, and those guys are great. And I have to shout out to Tyrone, who runs Nicholas, because he had my back a lot. He had my back the whole time, and he would help out. He'd just come by and be like, oh, I heard you had a kid here. Here's some money to buy him some stuff. And, you know, he's just really cool. And also Michael at Nicholas, who's always been like really helpful with getting this all ready. Oh, it's Dave, just as we finished the game. Hey, Dave, thank you for popping by. This will be available on video on demand and on YouTube later, but we've spent 3 hours 40 and did a full playthrough. So I guess spoilers as well, depending on when you actually play it. But let me know if you decide to stream it, and I'll come by. You're at the theater? Ah, feels good to be back out doing things, doesn't it? We had a launch party for this on Wednesday that I arranged, and that was really cool. Not everybody could make it because some people had COVID, which sucks, and I'm you know, they are okay, thankfully. Streaming it Sunday or maybe tomorrow. I'll keep an eye out. So something that I think is quite cool is that because I've got voice actors that I wanted in the game, what's really cool is that people that are fans of those people have come to the game through them, as well as as well as me being able to take people to them through the game, etc., etc. It's been like this cool networking thing. I have to show you, Dave, what we had going when I did. I think it's gone now. I might have deleted it, but we had this when I was on Be Right Back, and I want to kind of get somebody to draw like 4 of my characters in like, you know, that 3D rendered pixel art style and have that scrolling. Got this like having a new toy Streamlabs. I don't know if anybody else got any other questions, or if I fire something up before I go, being that Dave only just got here and others are only just chatting. Yeah, I shared a ridiculous bug that happened where during development. I've got anything else I can share in here? So what I could do, I mentioned Freddy the Frog a whole bunch, a game that I made in 1998. I reckon I could fire that up. That would be fun. Where the hell is it though? Be in my Google Drive. I've got it. Okay. If it's gonna work. Oh, it's not gonna work. Turn this off. Volume down a bit there. And I need to... It's not working with the game capture. Hold up. Yeah, that's crappy Sonic MIDI. There we go. I think that should do it. No? Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness. Freddy the Frog made this in 1998. It was a remake of a game I made in 1997. And it was garbage, but I love it. And I want to remake it one day. This ridiculous story. Frogia is a planet far, far away from Earth, populated by evolved frogs. Frogia's population was divided in half. I was 11, 12. Frogia's population was divided in half when a radiation leak from a volcano-powered reactor covered half the planet. These frogs are extremely smart, so much so that they have been capturing and artificially evolving Earth frogs to try and increase numbers. Frogs are evolved, I know, right? Well, they got evolved more. One day, a mysterious frog hid a toad amongst the Earth frogs to be evolved. With terrifying results, the frogs tried to contain the crazed, super intelligent monster toad, but it managed to escape and nobody knew where it went. Months later, a young frog named Freddy spots a suspicious-looking tool shed. Why tool shed? Because I had a sprite of a tool shed on the beach and decides to find out what's inside. You made a game that has evolved frogs. That's true, you did. Actually, I can't wait for Psychology. Oh my god, I'll play a bit of this. I could totally show Psychology at some point. Or I'll stream it another day or something. This was I was talking about those like egg sack things, and they were based on this stupid seaweed. This was a version of the game actually. It was like a few years later, a remaster where I fixed some things in it. But he rolls. I wanted him to use a tongue like Yoshi, but when I was 12, I didn't know how to do that. Yeah, what's up with all the evolved frogs? But in, Psychology, she's an evolved frog in the same way that the people in Super Mario Bros. Movie are evolved dinosaurs. She's just a person who kind of looks like a frog, I guess. Psycho Toad. Yeah, it was called an evolved frog, so we didn't. I had this. I don't know why at the time I had this idea that. What was it? Because it went way longer. I shortened that intro thing in that remaster, but I had this whole thing where it was supposed to be that the frogs were the population was really low, and so they took frogs from Earth and put them in like an evolution machine to make them smart, and then Psycho Toad got made from that or something. Yeah, we're looking at a little bit of Freddy real quick. You get the idea. It's one day I'm going to stream just a bunch of these games I made in like 1998. But yeah, there's not. Oh gosh, I forget. There's not even pause buttons in the Games Factory games, are there? How do I? It's Alt F4. Yeah, and I do one more because we talked about evolved frogs. I'll find where the build is. Do you know what? I might call it. I might. Oh God, I'm messing up this thing now. Well, we got the Sally Acorns back. We were looking through. I got these layers hidden. We were talking about Jay Axer and his dodgy art earlier. I'm going to put this all up on YouTube eventually, so I'm going to drop out in a second. Love Games Factory. Spent so much time reading that manual. God, it had this huge ring-bound manual, didn't it? Absolutely enormous thing. that came with it, and yeah, I mean, it became Click Team Fusion, but unfortunately, it's just not very good anymore. And most people that worked on it moved on to other things, including myself. But so, loved Games Factory. Spent so much time reading that manual. 15 of my 15-year-old parents never ever used it. Yeah, well, I made a bunch of games with it, and I had a website and everything. Where I think it was on. It wasn't GeoCities. It was Angel Fire. And I just uploaded all these Games Factory games to it that people download. There were Mario fan games and stuff like that. And it went on to this. Yeah, the Metallic Madness MIDI right after the laboratorium stage, yeah. Well, I feel bad for ending it just as a couple of people have come in, but that was Sparky. And I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope it finds its audience. And we'll come back and I want to do more streams. I'd love to stream AVGN someday and talk about the process of that. I've talked with the guys at Screenwave to see if they want to promote a stream of that or whatever. I want to show off some of Luke's game when he's ready for that to be a thing. Side Cutlery is absolutely incredible. Thank you, Meta J. Just response seems really, really good so far. In fact, let's see what we got. Hang on. Well, I'm just looking for how I can... Can I not bring Chrome up here? Oh, I was trying to bring up Chrome. Does this do it? I'm sorry, this is all still new to me. I was trying to bring up Google Chrome as a thing. Can I capture the entire desktop? Oh, man. There's got to be a desktop capture thing, right? You have your first go tomorrow night on a stream. That would be amazing. Yeah, I'll absolutely be there so long as my kid doesn't need me and stuff. I'll absolutely be there. Browser source. Does that do it? No, that doesn't do it either. This is professional, isn't it? I was just going to go into Chrome and see how the reviews were looking. But, window capture. Does this do it? Chrome.exe. There we go. Finally. All right. Let's see if that worked. Sort of. Everything's a bit small. You guys can see this? Ah, it's too big on here now. Ah, I suck at streaming. All right, here's what we got. How many reviews now? Still only 5 reviews, but it's been one day, so. Spectacular Sparky may well be the best game of 2021 so far. You're damn right. It's if you crank it up to Super Nightmare difficulty, it's almost certainly the hardest. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't even test some of my higher difficulties. I just make them so they work in theory. Oh, this guy! I did read this guy earlier, but he played it on Super Nightmare, and he only mentioned 2 segments where it got like too hard on Super Nightmare, and I might, quietly adjust them a little because he's done Super Nightmare for me, and I never played it in that mode. Just very, very fun, solid shooter that's suitable for literally anybody. Well, I say with most things, with most of these games, it's Switch or consoles is where they really sell, and Steam tends to be actually a very low number now because the competition is too competitive on Steam. But it gives you a bit of an idea of what people are thinking of it. Oh, and not forgetting the Richard Elson art as well. Yeah, there's so much to say about this game, but I think nearly 4 hours is enough. So I'm going to call it a day on the stream, but thanks for coming by, everybody. You all have a great night.